DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now, 800-943-5003. That's 800-943-5003.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it. And the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-943-5003. 800-943-5003.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed-rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online, and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 7.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIDX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, good morning. It's 6:20 and still a bit mild. We're going to have a rather mild weekend, but how about... well, tomorrow, later today, it'll get colder. Tomorrow, it's going to be kind of winter-like, 20s and low 30s. And then it'll warm back up a little bit for the weekend. But did you realize the temperatures yesterday?
Was it like 63?
When it hit over, my thermometer said 67 at my house in the shade.
Wow.
And I immediately am like, okay, I'm going to pause my work, and I'm going to find a chair that hasn't been packed away, and I'm going outside. I turned a little music on outside, and I just sat there in the sunshine for a little while.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long it'll be before we get it again.
Yeah, to 67. It might be July 67. Before we get there again.
You're absolutely right. There have been games, you were mentioning games in April and May that are cold, baseball games. I remember going to sitting out and American Legion games in June when it was down to practically 30-some-odd degrees, and we're freezing our towels off in June. So, enjoy it while you can. We definitely hit records yesterday. I think it was warmer yesterday than any time on this date in February, any time since the early 1950s. Back when global warming made its first run, apparently.
That was when we had years to plan for.
That's right. That's right. Back then.
Well, speaking of baseball, can I deliver some news to you?
I love news. And I have a surprise for Davey coming up.
Well, we talked yesterday with the crew chief, as I call him, Sal Barbero, and it's got the umpires class coming up next February 27th is when it starts. So We're a little under 2 weeks away. So this offseason, obviously, the Mets are hopeful to do more than they did last year. But part of our offseason plan was that we got rid of Jacob deGrom. We did not re-sign him. We were sad about it here on the air, but Bill, as you pointed out yesterday, we've talked about this before, the Mets have become a team where your ace pitcher goes 4 innings and your closer comes in the 6th. I saw a story yesterday. Somebody sent me a story that said Mariano Rivera believes that they're not in the same category. His closing song of his closer song of Metallica there to the horn. And I said, well, look, I completely agree. Your closer can't be coming in the 6th and 7th inning all the time. Anyway, the Mets didn't keep DeGrom, and we said, it stinks. It really stinks, but
it is what it is.
We can't justify that kind of money.
And my feeling was we need a pitcher that's more durable. I'd take a pitcher that wasn't as great. The problem is, being great for just 3 or 4 innings doesn't make you a great starter.
I completely agree. So I'm going to give you 3 options. This happened yesterday at camp. Jacob deGrom struck out the first 10 batters he faced. That's option 1. Option 2 is Jacob deGrom came out and said the Mets mishandled him and probably shortened his career.
I think because they babied him.
Or was it option 3? Jacob deGrom came out, threw about 4 pitches, and had to be sat back down because he's got tightness in his right side, and he's injured.
It's 3.
He's injured already.
He is, and I don't know what was it because he was pampered? Is it because pitchers are pitching like him at a young age and they're pitching their arms out to the point before they even get out of high school, right? Let alone going off to college or being picked up by a baseball club. I don't know the answer to it, but man, he's just constantly, and every time he has a surgery, he comes back, he's not the same. He's not the same. Every time he has an injury, he comes back. He's not the same pitcher.
So if you'll remember the start of last season, and this just took forever, DeGrom was set to throw his final preseason start, pitched maybe an inning, 2 innings, I don't know, and not that long, got some tightness and soreness in one side. They took him out of the game. They said, look, it's fine. It's no big deal. He's still scheduled to be the opening day starter, but we're probably going to push that back, so he won't start opening day, but he'll be ready in a couple weeks. And then he didn't pitch till like All-Star break.
Yeah.
It was after the All-Star break or just before it. Might have been just before the All-Star break. That's what they're dealing with now. They've said that they've decided to shut him down at least for a few days because of the tightness. He's amazing. He just can't stay healthy. He's made out of plastic. He's like Derrick Rose in the NBA.
You watch 3 or 4 innings, and it's the most amazing pitching you've ever seen. You can't touch him. But after that, he begins to fall off. And, if you can have a scenario where you build him into your lineup and he's going 4 innings and that's your goal, well, I think that's something different. But Davey.
The general manager, Chris Young, is blaming it on the weather in Arizona.
Okay, being so perfect?
Not perfect, cold.
Oh, the weather is cold right now in Arizona? Yeah.
That's why they said there was tightness in Jacob deGrom.
He's coming from New York, so my guess is that he can handle a cold night or 2. I have a surprise for you, Davey. I don't know if I should tell you now or wait and tell you.
Go ahead, tell me now.
You are, I got to tell you, with Jimmy Fallon coming to Fat Cats Comedy Club with shows Friday night and Saturday night, this time we end up adding a show on Friday and a show on Saturday for a total of 5 sellout shows. Since the last time and the time before we've had Jimmy up here, he's bigger. Would we all agree?
Look, I know he's trying to watch what he eats and everything, but it happens as we age.
He's actually losing weight. He looks really good.
Oh, well, what'd you say?
He's bigger than ever, and you
Celebrity.
see that by 5 sellouts, right? And what that means is people are going to try when he's in studio here. People are going to try to. They're gonna try to sneak into the studio, and your role is going to be the gatekeeper. He is to be off limits. I mean, there may be a few situations, just a few, But otherwise, he has to be off limits. I mean, think of it. We'll never get him on the air. He'll be out signing autographs. And
Did he request for me to be
signing people's boots? Yes, you are.
He did request for me to be his personal bodyguard.
Well, went in studio here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Be careful there, Bill, because we might not have Davey anymore.
I'm not done
he
yet.
He might just volunteer to be his personal bodyguard 24/7.
I'm not done yet. Davey, you have been requested. You have been requested by Jimmy from his undisclosed hotel room.
Okay.
You have been requested to pick him up and bring him to the studio on Friday morning.
He requested me?
He requested you.
Okay.
Or what?
No, I understand. I
No,
will do it.
He has requested that you pick him up.
Is the police cars going to escort me to his undisclosed hotel?
No, you're clandestine on your own.
Gotcha.
Okay?
I can do that.
So there you go, Davey. You'll be make sure your car's all clean, or you use a station van if it doesn't break down. Please. I just say that because there's one out there that's, I think, headed to the junkyard.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, it's already gone?
Both of them are gone.
Oh, so we don't have one now.
We don't have one.
All right.
We better get the motorcycle ready.
Get it ready.
The motorcycle.
Get ready. Anyway, that'll be tomorrow morning, Davey.
Gotcha.
He'll be in studio. Now, he's doing Hannity. Listen to this guy. He's doing Hannity Thursday night. And then he's picking up and coming up here. So he'll arrive late into Utica. So he's not going to have a lot of sleep.
Does he want me to meet him halfway so I can escort him from the thruway to a secret location?
That he didn't ask for. But, think about it. He's doing Hannity late on Thursday.
Yeah.
Then, you're thinking, all right, well, that's not a problem. Hannity gets off at what, 9 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Oh, okay. Think about that. Now he's got to be ready to leave for Utica. And you got to get out of Dodge. You got to get out of the city. That ain't, even at 10 o'clock at night, that takes you time. I mean, you might get on the point where you take the West Side Highway up, but then you run into traffic by the GW Bridge. I mean, you just never know. So he could be arriving here at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be your job to get him, all right?
Then he's got Davey disturbing him at such a time at an undisclosed location.
Which is why
pick him up.
He's asked for you, okay? Anyway, we want to thank, where'd she go? Carol Gowans is her name, and she's from Whitesboro. Not only did she win the Real Men Get Tested auction and win all of those tickets, but she wins a pair of tickets for tomorrow night, the 7 o'clock show. And Carol had bid $300, but she added another $50 to it yesterday.
That was very nice of her.
For Real Men Get Tested.
Thank you, Carol.
That was really awesome. And as a matter of fact, Carol, just so you know, I let Jimmy know that that's exactly what you did. He was very honored. It might be the highest ticket price anyone has paid for one of his tickets, or two of them.
To celebrate that and recognize that, on Friday night for the show, whenever you're ready to leave your house, just call us. Davey's going to come. He's going to personally escort you to the Fat Cats Comedy Club. So.
Yeah, that's not true. Anyway, it's all good stuff. This morning on the program, a ton of stuff to get to. Colosimo Test is on this morning. This ARPA funding that cities have, it's not being distributed. And it's funny that Ryan Nobles brought this up yesterday. Congress is talking about, well, the money's not being spent. Maybe we ought to ask for it back. And how are you spending it? Checks to this friend's organization, that friend's little nonprofit, this friend's. Is that how these cities are doing this? Jackie Izzo on yesterday saying the one thing they're doing with theirs is making sure that it comes with with private money, that matching funds, that sort of thing, so that each of these institutions has skin in the game.
Yeah,
I think that's the way we all should be doing it. Anyway, interesting stuff. I want to tell you, did anybody watch any of, I have to say, Spectrum, I was really impressed. They broadcast the entire sentencing of that
scumbag,
that piece of garbage from Western New York that drove up to Buffalo and shot a bunch of black people.
Yeah.
At the Tops grocery store.
Yeah.
So, I've seen clips of a sentencing. I've never really sat and watched in such a gruesome scenario. Why? And I watched this a good part of this yesterday. Did you see when the woman came up? And so the way it's set up is he's there in his little jumpsuit, and this is the day where he'll receive his sentence. And then the courtroom is filled with people and police officers, and there's a podium on the other side. People get to victims, families, anybody. They get to walk up to the podium and address him and the court as to what they think should happen to him. But in most cases, they just looked at him and they addressed him. Yeah. Some were like, I can't, you've taken my father away. You've taken my daughter away. You've taken whatever the scenario was. And you've ripped my life away from me. But I forgive you.
Oh, wow.
Others came up, I hate you. I do not forgive you.
Yeah.
Others were yelling at him. One woman came up and here's the picture right here. There it is. Watch him run him off. They're playing it on TV. So this giant guy, he looked like a football player.
Oh yeah, he's a big guy.
He is I believe the brother of the woman who was talking, and he went after this shooter. And they had to grab him and pull him back. Other than that, it was everybody was just speaking to him, and they actually had probably 6 or 7 deputy sheriffs standing around the convicted. I don't even use his name. So, but it was really something to watch. It was emotional. It was horrible to watch. And then the judge put on a display just about society, talked about how we've lost our way with racism, with being able to shoot people, being able to just walk into a soft target and shoot people up. What has happened to our society? It was a very emotional speech by the judge, and then person by person who died, there was an additional charge. So for each charge, she named the person, said a little something about that person. And many of these people were just older people. Grandmother, she was a great cook. You're being found guilty with no chance of parole, life in prison. Person after person. It was emotional to watch. And then the clip you're seeing a lot on TV is where the brother's going after the guy. He got about 5 feet, and then they rushed the deviant out of the room, and there he is. He's in shackles, so he's trying to waddle. He can't even walk. It's disgusting. He's sitting there, with tears in his eyes, apologetic that he went down this rabbit hole and did this.
Did he?
Oh,
he
yeah.
apologized?
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
Wow, that surprises me.
He said, I don't know. I believed what I read online, and I'm sure his attorneys probably wrote it for him. But either way, it doesn't matter what you say. And the judge said that. Yeah. The judge said it doesn't. The heinous crime that you committed, the decision you made, the preparation that you put into this, your apologies don't count anymore.
Yeah.
And why is it that we don't? This is how we have to look at things. We don't look at things this way anymore unless it's such a horrible crime, right? Now it's just like, well, you know what? We're going to give you a shot. Because he could have been treated as a minor. He's 18 years old. Talk about destroying your life. 18 years old. And he could have been treated as a minor.
The reason...
And the judge said, you do not deserve that.
Well, I can't even believe that was an option. But look at New York state laws that allow that for that to be a possibility in such a case is outrageous.
Luckily, the judge in this case had discretion and ruled it out. Now he faces the death penalty.
Good.
Because there are federal charges. In New York, there is no death penalty. I prefer someone like him spending the rest of his life in jail and not the death penalty. I don't believe. I think the death penalty is too good. It lets you off the hook. Now he's going to have to spend the rest of his life. And I love the one guy that came up and he's like, "Listen, man, you took away my brother, 53-year-old brother. He's the only person I have left. My mother's gone. My father's gone. I don't have anyone else. I only had my brother, and now I have no one. And he said, take it from somebody who's been in the system. They're going to mess you up there. It's going to be your own kind. They're going to mess you up. They're going to have you. I mean, he was just, he said everything but what was going to happen. They're going to have you. They're going to take care of you, believe me. Because, here's this young 18-year-old coming to the worst prison on the planet for the most part, at least in the United States. And they're going to have their way with him. That's exactly what all of these people were saying.
So I just want to mention that the apology, right? Obviously doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean anything other than to me that I'm glad that the person can reflect on it and know that. We live in a world where, I cannot believe that people, as you said, are willing to go forward and do the things that they do nowadays. At the same time, I do take some solace, barely, in the fact that he realizes that was wrong, and hopefully other people look to him.
He did specifically say that and I'm glad that was in there, and maybe this is what his attorneys put. His defense attorney, came up to speak after all of the victims' families spoke. In some cases, the victims came up because some people, it was attempted murder and they survived.
Yeah.
And it was the defense attorney went up to speak and said, Your Honor, we have nothing to say. What my client did was heinous. He should spend the rest of his life in jail without parole. This was the defense attorney. And I think that they convinced this kid that this is what you're doing. But he began to cry. The defense attorney began to cry. It was really interesting to watch. And then the kid came up, and the one thing that he did say was, I don't want anyone to how did he word it? I don't want anyone to feel that I am an inspiration to them. I am not. I thought that was good. And again, his attorney probably wrote it. I do not want to be an inspiration to anyone. What I did was wrong and horrific.
Yeah.
So there it is. But we live in, and you say people do things today. I think we just do things differently today. There have been a lot of bad things in the world. Are we much worse than we ever were? I don't know. I think it's just all different. There have always been evil people doing evil things. The way we handle it is a lot different, right? Back then, an eye for an eye. Today, you take the eye, we're going to let you out and let you use the other eye for a little while.
Yeah.
So I do think that it is different, but it isn't. There's always been a lot of evil in the world. I don't think we're any worse today than we ever were. It just seems like we cover every bad story. There was another shooting yesterday, another public shooting yesterday somewhere, another soft target. It just goes over and over again. It's terrible. High temperatures yesterday. In some places in the state, we reached 70 degrees upstate New York yesterday.
Wow.
We were pretty darn close to it.
Meanwhile, it was too cold for Jacob deGrom to pitch.
Too cold for deGrom to pitch.
It's hurting.
But I have to say that on Oneida Lake, despite the fact that we had reached well into the upper 60s, this is in my what were you thinking category. Police had to come in. Authorities, rescue workers had to come in to Oneida Lake to rescue a couple people in Brewerton who were ice fishing. What are you thinking? Well, we've had such a mild winter all winter long. How thick do you think that ice is?
Mm-hmm.
So one man in his early 20s stranded on the ice near Brewerton, deputy said. Teams were sent to the lake around 5:12 p.m. They got on there, here's the helicopter going over top, and I know they got on the speaker and were like, what the hell are you doing? That's what they said. The man drove onto the lake with a four-wheeler and was about 200 to 300 yards offshore when what do you think happened? What do you think happened? He got stuck.
Fell through the ice.
Terrible. Like, what are actually, at Oneida Lake, it was 69 degrees yesterday. And we're going to go out on the lake and do some ice fishing. The heck.
And you're right. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that there were parts frozen over enough for them to walk out there because it's really been a very mild winter.
It was a helicopter they needed to rescue the guy.
But I'm saying I can't believe the guys even got out there to begin with.
I know.
Let's go to Lake Delta right now. Let's pack everything up and go broadcast from Lake Delta.
We're going to do an ice fishing broadcast today. Man, I just tell you. Okay, I got a break. Coming in, Dr. Shomolevsky and Dr. Zielinski from the Falcon Clinic doing a series on some alternative options that are out there. The last time they were on, we talked about medical marijuana, something that they believe in greatly and prescribe. But there are other alternate drugs that you could consider. And are you putting all these vitamins and spending all this money on pumping iron and this, that, and the B12 and all these things into your system? How much do you really need? What's good, what isn't good, and what's good and what's wasting your money? We'll speak with the two docs coming up in a second on that. Also, ADHD, an interesting topic. 642 at WIBX.
From screen printing and embroidery to promotional products and online shops, it's all under one new roof at Max's Print Shop in Marcy. Order anytime and any quantity in person or online at maxsprintshop.com. Since 1978, we pride ourselves on personally meeting every customer's need. We can take your project from design to production. And remember, Max's Print Shop will stitch anything. And we mean anything in the Utica-Rome area. Find us at 9555 River Road in Marcy or online at maxsprintshop.com.
Adirondack Home Furniture is fully stocked from wall to wall with top quality, durable, American-made pieces for any room. With over 40 bedroom and dining room pieces on display and quality sofas starting at $8.99, you're sure to find the pieces to transform your home. And don't forget, Adirondack Home Furniture has more than just rustic pieces. They carry a wide variety of modern, farmhouse, and traditional styles. If you're looking to transform your home or complete a room with a few pieces, now is the time to buy. Because at Adirondack Home Furniture, you'll save the amount of the sales tax. Save the amount of the sales tax on any purchase for your living room, bedroom, office, and occasional furniture. All solid wood and American made, including in-stock items, clearance items, and even special orders. Adirondack Home Furniture has the best value and top quality furniture for your home. Visit them at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica, or browse the inventory online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com.
Are you ready to make the most important decision for your child's future? Some are easy, some are not. Some make all the difference, like choosing Notre Dame schools. Offering grades pre-K through 12, your child will be ready to learn and thrive in a challenging atmosphere surrounded by great teachers and the most current technology. Notre Dame offers small class sizes, high academic standards, and spiritual fulfillment. At Notre Dame, we foster an environment of diversity and community. Students feel supported and more confident in achieving their goals. Our students learn from each other and are challenged to grow and develop their innate talents. Notre Dame is faith-based, but everyone is welcome. If you have higher expectations for your child, Notre Dame offers a higher level experience. If you're ready to launch your child's future into the most successful career path and build the next generation of leaders, call today for a tour or visit NotreDameUtica.org. Notre Dame schools, ready to learn, destined to lead.
Just admit it, you love yard sales, but only one thing beats driving around looking for them: attending the world's largest yard sale. Great news, it's back and bigger than ever before. Who thought it could get bigger? The world's largest yard sale is coming to the Herkimer County Fairgrounds on Saturday, June 3rd. This is your chance to sell your stuff to the thousands who attend the world's largest yard sale. It sure beats putting up your own yard sale signs all around town, hoping for a crowd. At the world's largest yard sale, all you have to do is get a booth, and you get to keep all the profit on everything you sell. Cha-ching! Hurry and reserve your booth today, because it's filling up quickly at a record pace. The world's largest yard sale, Saturday, June 3rd, at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds. Brought to you by the Potting Shed Antiques and sponsored by Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating. For more information, download the station's app or check out our website.
Hello there, my name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you know you're gonna get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Ready now. Okay, so a couple comments here this morning. Rob this morning just sent us a picture of the ice at Racket Lake, and he said 2 weeks ago, this is how thick the ice was, and it's got to be about maybe a foot and a few inches thick on Racket Lake. Number one, Racket Lake is different than Oneida Lake, right, in terms of location. And a couple weeks ago, we were dealing with some really frigid temperatures. Now, of course, look at where we are today. But that's pretty interesting, Rob. Julie says, big sign on the building at the end of Big Lots Plaza in North Utica. Coming soon. It's a Utica thing, kitchen and bar. That is happening. Charlie DiChristina, it's going to be a full restaurant. He was in studio talking about that a while back, along with It's a Utica Thing, Italian-style food. Really cool. And one more thing on baseball. Old-time pitchers like Sandy Koufax, Warren Spahn, Whitey Ford must be laughing their tails off at the way pitchers are treated today rather than when they played. And then he said those fishermen's heads were thicker than the ice out at Oneida Lake. All very true. Yeah. In studio, Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we're talking about supplements. Where are we going with this today?
Do you mind if I start off with that one? Okay. So, especially seeing as we're in winter right now, granted things seem to be getting a little bit better slowly but surely with, the days getting longer and stuff like that. But, for the most part, most days you look outside, it's kind of gray and dreary and depressing. So
yes,
it begs the question, am I getting enough vitamins, particularly vitamin D, for example?
Which is why I was outside yesterday just sitting and taking that in.
We checked the box the last 2 days, but I don't know about the last 2 months.
What are the best vitamins to get? And, I've heard from physicians, as long as you eat a decent, healthy diet, you're getting all the vitamins you need. What do you think?
Want me to take that one again? So I think that in a lot of cases, that's probably true. But one of the things that I always check for my patients in the office, particularly this time of year, is, like any good physician, you do a good history, you do a good exam. And I often have people, in spite of healthy diet and drinking plenty of water and getting exercise, and those things are all well and good. I encourage them to continue doing that. But I often hear, Doc, no matter what I do, I can barely muster up the strength to get out of bed. And that would prompt me to do a little additional testing, in addition to my normal lab work where I check, liver numbers, kidney numbers, sugar, cholesterol.
Yeah.
Maybe I ought to check you for vitamin D. Maybe I ought to check you for vitamin B12 and folate and other vitamins that people in this area are commonly deficient in spite of good diet and stuff like that.
Dr. Shemaleski?
Yeah. Well, at the Falcon Clinic, we have various supplements and vitamins available to people, but one of the big things we talk about is basically how to improve your protoplasm. Now, a healthy diet, I'm not really sure what that is.
Today.
There's the food pyramid from the government and everything else. A lot of criticism about that. The ADH diet for diabetics, there is some criticism about that as well in terms of how much carbohydrate there is and so forth. But anyway, I think of the vitamins and supplements pretty much as being a hedge. Okay, because when somebody says, I eat a healthy diet, what does that mean?
Right.
So,
and are you eating a healthy diet?
Yeah, and one of the things at the Falcon Clinic we talk about, it's a very common thing, is to eat the rainbow. We talked about that many times, and that's the color in your food. If you're eating just brown and white stuff, whether it's potatoes and steak or hamburger, brown and white, you're probably not getting everything you need. If you're just doing I'm not against vegetarian diets. I think they're great because they're more colorful and they definitely get a lot of the vitamins on there. But everybody's different. Some people do need more protein, I think, and the requirements vary. So to me, the vitamins, the supplements are a hedge on there.
I'd like to know, like, for instance, my wife has fibromyalgia and Sjogren's syndrome. So dealing with, and then everything else that she's not up yet. Everything else that goes on as being a woman who's in her 40s, all of that. Women, God must have hated women. I just think about it. All the bad things, all of that stuff was. we'll give this to the woman. Let her deal with all of these issues, right? Like menopause and all that stuff. Meanwhile, guys are living their midlife crisis. That's what they have to deal with.
Reminds me of the Japanese swords, the samurai swords.
Yes.
They get a block of steel, they keep pounding it and folding it, pounding it. After 1,000 times, they get tempered steel. I think that's why women are so strong.
That is exactly. Probably it's a great analogy. So, but with those conditions that she deals with, she swears by getting the injection of B12 every month, and feels, and I don't know if it's a placebo effect. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because she feels that she gets run down at the end of the month, where without that shot, she's fatigued. What are your thoughts on that?
Is it okay if I take that one?
And you can be honest.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. She's
we're-
not up yet.
and we're always honest. If there's ever a limitation to our knowledge, we'll let you know, but we'll always be honest. One thing that I did want to circle back to with Dr. Shimoleski saying eat the rainbow, meat is obviously important. Vegetable matter is obviously very important. But also fruits, so colorful fruits. Like pomegranates, blueberries, pineapples. These are loaded with antioxidants. And all the conditions that you mentioned earlier for your wife, like fibromyalgia and Sjogren's syndrome, these are autoimmune phenomenon where there's runaway inflammation. So the antioxidants will knock away at that inflammation. So I would certainly...
so does the B12. Do those shots help?
So that one I would actually like for Dr. Shimoleski to take care of, because I actually don't have as much experience in B12 injections, more oral B12. So Dr. Shimoleski, thank you.
Sure. Well, B12 is one of the many B vitamins. It actually comes as a complex there. And so the B vitamins in general have been found in a lot of ways to be extremely helpful in cardiac disorders. For example, vitamin B1 and B2 deficiencies, things like beriberi if you want, and pellagra, so the B vitamins there. When we start getting into like B12 injections, for example, and you use the word placebo, I think you're actually talking about the mind-body connection.
Right.
That the belief system can have a tremendous effect. That's one thing. But the other thing is that there is an affinity for B12 and the nervous system. We've used it for years for people who have things like depression, fatigue, once you've ruled out a lot of other things.
Right.
And sciatica sometimes will help. Some peripheral neuropathies there, it will help. Of course, you have to measure B12 and folate levels.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like, Dr. Zielinski said, you got to work these people up. But B12 is something. Just real quickly, when I was in training at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia, neurology, there was a lady there. She had just a slightly lower anemia, just a little bit. She was about 35, and she had elements of dementia. 35,
Wow.
And our chief resident found this paper where they said, B12 can have an affinity for the brain and the nervous system. He talked our attending into giving a B12 shot, 1,000 micrograms. I got to tell you, like by that afternoon, she was clear and thinking.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that. It was because she, personally, with her body, needed more B12 than the rest of us
That's
would.
unbelievable.
Yeah. So you've got like the food stuffs with the eat the rainbow,
Eating
and
the right
hedging with
foods,
vitamins and stuff.
yeah.
But then there are some people that need more of things. People with severe depression and stuff sometimes do very well with high potency B complex vitamins and B12 shots as well.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I know a couple of people who have done the B12 injections, and one of them who comes to mind says it's a total placebo thing. The other one says, no, I swear by it. There's no question. I was low on energy. I felt depressed. It picked up my energy levels. And they claim they lost 20 pounds. It kind of gave I don't know if it's because they were more active because of the additional energy or if it kicked the metabolism up a notch. But it's funny. One of them says, no, that's bogus.
Yeah.
And the other one says, no, I swear by it. You should get
Well,
that.
I have to say, my wife says she can feel it when she gets towards the end of the month. And, whatever it is, it works for her. And I think that's important.
We have statistics, and then there's the statistics of one, Every time we do something, we are an experiment of one. So you have a glass of water, and you take a glass of water, and you say, okay, that was nice. But then you get somebody who's extremely dehydrated. They found him out in the parking lot. He's been there for 2 days and so forth.
Glass
and
of
you
water
give
is everything.
He needs that water.
Yeah.
Is that where Stefan's been?
It is. It might be. I've got about 3 3 minutes left. I want to ask you about, and I have no clue on this, medicinal, Joe Lode will be proud, medicinal mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh.
Medicinal mushrooms, that's a whole topic, and there's some really, we just saw a nice film on that. I can't remember the wild mushrooms or something like that. People should look at that. Mushrooms have been around since the beginning of life on there, and they're inherent in so much. Our antibiotics originally came from mushrooms and so forth. A lot of research going on with mushrooms right now. People, especially in the interest of cancer community, if you want to call it that, very attuned to things like reishi mushrooms they make a tea out of, which seems to have some pretty profound anti-cancer properties.
Interesting.
One that I recently came across, I just gave you a paper.
Turkey tail.
Turkey tail mushroom. Now, one might say, okay, well, you go to a health food store, which I go to. You go to a health food store and, okay, you're getting these things. You're one of those fringe people. Not true. National Institute of Health, I gave you that.
Yeah.
People who have had chemotherapy and taking turkey tail mushroom, okay, sometimes with the chemotherapy have incredible results. In the one paper I gave you, an 83-year-old woman, she had breast cancer, metastatic, okay? And she was on a couple of medicines, Herceptin and Taxol. And she started taking the turkey tail mushroom along with that. And here it is 6 years later. In the paper, you'll see there, she is disease-free.
Wow.
So she's an experiment of one, okay? I'm not talking about, statistics and evidence-based medicine. I would like to be that woman if I had that cancer
right.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you look at these things with the mushrooms, okay, depending on which one they are and stuff like that, the side effect profile is fantastic. Maybe a bitter tea.
Right,
That's
right.
about it. Or
Yeah.
maybe your stomach will get upset, maybe. But not
meanwhile,
like some of these other horrendous side effects.
Right, meanwhile, you're taking pills, and you got to take 2 pills to offset the side effects of the pill that you need. It's
so
incredible.
we're not talking about stop seeing your oncologist and stop your medical. Far from it. That's criminal. But it seems like this is something that the National Institute of Health and researchers are looking into to integrate that in there, so that these people that's not the only one case. Where they had metastatic disease. That means you're on the end of the road there.
Right.
Maybe.
Dr. Shemolinsky, Dr. Zielinski, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll do it again. I wanted to get into the alcohol issue. There's Canadians are saying no alcohol is good. Cut it off completely. There's a story up on our website about that. But Falcon Clinic, located in Washington Mills, primary care physicians looking door open for new patients.
Yeah.
All right.
Correct.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
It's 6:59, Fox News. Straight ahead here on Thursday morning. Our free money question from Opelika coming up next hour. WIBX, Utica, Rome.
Some are sick, all want answers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but many residents in East Palestine, Ohio don't think they got many at a town meeting last night after a train derailment that led to toxic spills, explosions, and fires.
I have the village on my back, and I'll do whatever it takes to make this right.
Mayor Trent Conaway, many were upset no railroad officials attended.
And many people are wondering where President Biden's transportation secretary is. Pete Buttigieg is going to be the EPA chief visiting here today. Right now, we're not sure if the transportation secretary will be showing up anytime soon.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson in East Palestine, where there's still a chemical smell.
I wake up every day. I've been sick with my upper congestion. This morning I woke up with my eyes swelled.
My kids, we're just running in to grab something, and then we're going back to Grandma's house because they keep breaking out in rashes.
They rescued another survivor from earthquake rubble in Turkey today. A woman trapped alive more than 10 days. But the number of deaths in Turkey and Syria now tops 40,000. Another Russian barrage hit Ukraine today.
36 missiles in 2 hours rained down on cities from east to west. Ukraine says it shot down 16 of them. Authorities say a 79-year-old woman was killed and at least 7 others injured.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. A vigil at Michigan State for 3 murdered students.
To the families of those who were senselessly taken from us, words seem so hollow right now.
Men's basketball coach Tom Izzo also offering prayers to the 5 other students critically wounded. Police still don't know the gunman's motive. He killed himself after. Shots were fired at an El Paso, Texas mall, scaring shoppers who ran, killing 1 person, wounding 3 others. 2 suspects in custody. It happened across the parking lot from the Walmart where 23 people were massacred in 2019. A Tennessee National Guard Black Hawk helicopter crashed in Alabama.
It sounded like it was sick, if you want to put it that way. And then next thing you know, when I was unlocking the door,
it exploded when it hit the ground, killing both crew members. America's listening to Fox News.
You've heard me discuss how my everyday aches and pains were affecting my daily life before I started taking Relief Factor. You've also heard me talk to you about how my friends and family have found relief from their aches and pains with Relief Factor. Well, let me tell you about Gary from California. Gary says, I cannot thank you enough. I am 62 years old and have just started taking Relief Factor. I've never felt better and will recommend Relief Factor to all my baby boomer friends. Well, thanks for writing, Gary. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing. Your first step to living the life you love, free from aches and pains, could just be to order the 3-week Quick Start for only $19.95. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Live your best life and feel the difference with Relief Factor.
We have mostly cloudy skies and a warm start this morning. We are sitting at 43 degrees at 7:03. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski. I want to know why they're hiding it. That's what one Utica council person is asking in a delay of the city's release of how it plans to use American Rescue Plan Act funding. And Samantha Colosimo Testa is demanding answers before the council acts on Mayor Robert Palmieri's current budget proposal. She also thinks the administration might be stonewalling questions about the money on purpose. Colosimo Testa said while speaking with WIBX she thinks the delay might be intentional as a way to obstruct budget negotiations as the council is poring over Palmieri's 2023-24 budget plan. In all, the unaccounted for ARPA funds total approximately $30 million of the $64 million that the city received from the federal government. The Republican at-large councilperson says not knowing what projects are boosted by those federal funds clouds the budgeting process in looking at what the mayor wants to spend on projects in the upcoming year. An arrest has been made in connection with the abandonment of the dog Miracle at the Herkimer County Humane Society earlier this month. Police have charged Paul Carlos Palenzuela of Frankfort. He's accused of leaving the dog in the freezing cold on the night of Thursday, February 3rd. He's facing charges of overriding, torturing, and injuring animals, along with failure to provide proper sustenance and abandonment of an animal. Police say someone did know the vehicle in the video released by the Humane Society. New York State Police received a tip on that vehicle, which led them to Palenzuela. He's scheduled to appear in court later this month. As for the $4,000 reward for information leading to an arrest, no one so far has come forward to claim it. Officials say it will now be given to the Humane Society to help with animal care. Members of the New York State Senate have rejected Governor Kathy Hochul's nominee to be the next chief judge of the State Court of Appeals. 39 senators voted against Hector LaSalle's nomination yesterday, while just 20 lawmakers voted in favor of it. His nomination was originally turned down by the Senate Judiciary Committee weeks ago, but a Republican lawmaker filed suit to try and force a full-chamber vote on his candidacy. Governor Hochul says she'll now work toward making a new nomination to lead the court. In just a few hours, the 114th Syracuse Auto Expo at the On Center will be open to the public. The event goes on from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. today and tomorrow, from noon until 8 on Saturday and noon till 5 on Sunday. There, of course, will be hundreds of vehicles on display for people to check out, plus Subaru of America will be teaming up with local shelters to encourage animal adoptions. And the getaway driver involved in the deadly shooting of an 11-month-old Syracuse girl has pleaded guilty. 25-year-old Chavez Ocasio admitted that his vehicle was used in the drive-by shooting that took the life of Dior Harris back in April 2021. Again, she was just 11 months old. He now faces roughly 15 years in prison. Last week, 26-year-old Jesse Outley was arrested in connection with the case. He is the person prosecutors say pulled the trigger while Dior was sitting in a car seat. Ultimately, she, of course, was struck and killed. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast, a chance of showers mainly this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies today, but a high of 46 degrees. Tonight, rain showers possible, a low of 41. Friday, we begin with some rain showers, maybe some sleet mixing in as well, all before 10 a.m. Then a chance of snow showers and some sleet in the afternoon. Friday's high temperature will be falling through the day, falling to about 24 degrees by 5 p.m. On Saturday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 36. Mostly cloudy on Sunday with a high of 43. Right now, mostly cloudy skies, 43 degrees. WIBX news time is 7:07. All right, checking sports. Nice win for Colgate as they took down Army last night, 93-86. Oliver Lynch-Daniels and Braden Smith combining for 43 points. Both teams shooting well over 50% from the field, and they combined for 26 three-pointers. 15, though, knocked down by Colgate. They get the victory. They are now 20-8 on the season and 14-1 in Patriot League play. Up next, they'll host Holy Cross on Saturday afternoon. It is their final home game of the regular season. One member of the Giants receiving corps is officially on the market, Sterling Shepard, the wide receiver, becoming an unrestricted free agent. There was a clause added to his contract that included an automatic void 72 hours after the Super Bowl. The Giants, though, will carry a $4.3 million dead money cap hit for the 2023 season. A former Giants legend thinks Aaron Rodgers might not survive in New York. Tiki Barber saying on his WFAN radio show that the Packers quarterback will have a tough time navigating New York media. The Knicks' winning streak up to 3 games. They demolished the Hawks last night, 122-101 in Atlanta. Jalen Brunson leading all scorers with 28 points. He came within a rebound of a double-double. The Nets snapped their 2-game slide, a 116-105 victory over the Heat in Brooklyn. Some hockey, the Rangers have won 6 straight. They took down the Canucks 6-4 in Vancouver. The Devils look for their second straight victory when they visit the St. Louis Blues coming up tonight. Some more football news. The Dolphins officially adding a new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. The Buccaneers making a decision on a new offensive coordinator. NFL Network says Tampa is hiring Seahawks quarterbacks coach Dave Canales as the team's new OC. And a story that still got me scratching my head, the Chicago Bears nearing a departure from their longtime home at the legendary Soldier Field. The team is purchasing a 320-acre property in Arlington Park for $197 million. The Bears stated the purchase does not guarantee the development of the team's plan for a new domed stadium. They also said there remains a tremendous amount of due diligence to be done in order to take the next step in that process. The Bears have played at Soldier Field near downtown Chicago since 1971. One more, and I mentioned it when we opened the show with Bill there. Jacob deGrom is being set to the side for a couple of days. He was throwing I wouldn't even say a bullpen session. He was pitching yesterday, throwing, and complained of tightness in his side. So they're putting him on the shelf for a couple of days before they get him throwing once again. A very familiar theme his last couple of years in a Mets uniform. We're very familiar with that. It is 7:10, First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
You have cancer. 3 words you wish you could unhear. But just because a cancer diagnosis may be a shock to your system doesn't mean cancer surgery has to be. Now, there's Edge Radiosurgery. It breaks down tumors in less than an hour per treatment. No knife, no hospital stay. Faster treatments, lower risk. Edge Radiosurgery, now at AMP of New York. Learn more at ampofny.com/edge. You may experience side effects which may be severe. Ask your doctor of Edge Radiosurgery. Associated Medical Professionals of New York is right for you.
Sweet deals all month long at your family-owned and operated dealership, Steet Pawnee Chevy in Herkimer. Fall in love and find new roads when you test drive a 2023 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive LS 3-year, 30,000-mile lease with $1,000 down for just $349 a month. You'll say, "Be mine" when you test drive our 2023 Chevy Trailblazer LT front-wheel drive 3-year, 30,000-mile lease with $1,000 down for just $319 a month. Steet Pawnee Chevrolet. offering you sweet deals and the buying experience you'll love. Visit them on Route 28 in Herkimer or at StevePoneyChevy.com. See why it's always easy to do business at Steve Pawnee Chevy.
Customer must qualify for A1 top-tier credit with GM Financial. 25 cents per mile. Mileage penalty over 30,000 miles. All taxes, fees, first payment due on delivery. Equinox stock number 23077. MSRP $30,080. Trailblazer stock number 23130. MSRP $25,595. Must have current lease in household and take delivery by 2/28/2023.
Adirondack Home Furniture is fully stocked from wall to wall with top quality, durable, American-made pieces for any room. With over 40 bedroom and dining room pieces on display and quality sofas starting at $8.99, you're sure to find the pieces to transform your home. And don't forget, Adirondack Home Furniture has more than just rustic pieces. They carry a wide variety of modern, farmhouse, and traditional styles. If you're looking to transform your home or complete a room with a few pieces, now is the time to buy. Because at Adirondack Home Furniture, you'll save the amount of the sales tax. Save the amount of the sales tax on any purchase for your living room, bedroom, office, and occasional furniture. All solid wood and American made, including in-stock items, clearance items, and even special orders. Adirondack Home Furniture has the best value and top quality furniture for your home. Visit them at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica, or browse the inventory online at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com.
If you're looking for flooring, boy, do I have the perfect place for you. This is Bill Keeler, and I highly recommend in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, the area's leading flooring store. They have the absolute largest inventory in Central New York, and it's a brand new store at the Route 49 Plaza in Marcy. And if you're looking for Pergo Extreme, they have a price guarantee anywhere in the area within a 60-mile radius of their store. It's a pretty awesome deal, and you know you're going to get the best deal at Insera's. Log on to their website at InserasFlooringOutlet.com and sign up to save $50 off your next purchase of $500 or more. You can shop online or in the store. You will not find a better selection than Insera's Flooring Outlet. See why more people buy from the big store. Its selection, its price, and it's a 6-month interest-free financing. Log on to the website, InserasFlooringOutlet.com, and see for yourself or visit their store. Insera's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road in Marcy.
Hi, this is Shalene with Northland Trailers located on River Road in Marcy. At Northland, we offer a full line of utility, snowmobile, enclosed, dump, and equipment trailers. We can also custom design a trailer to meet your specific needs. In addition to trailers, we have a full parts showroom, and we service what we sell. Our family business is proud to have been serving our community for over 4 decades. Northland Trailers is located right outside the city of Utica. So swing on down and let's talk towing.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's New York attorneys. 518-554-0000. Online at CordellCordell.com. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
We invest in Herkimer and Oneida counties.
We work with the community to make things better for old and young alike.
Today, tomorrow, and in the years to come.
Every day, we put the community's long-term savings to work. Who are we? We are the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida counties.
FoundationHOC.org.
We're your community foundation.
Working to build a vibrant region
with opportunity for all.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So I don't normally... In fact, I think it might be the first time I have watched the Masked... The Masked Singer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I think it's stupid. I've seen it once. I don't know how they sing with that mask on.
I don't
They're
either.
obviously lip syncing with the mask on, right? When they have that big headpiece on. There's no way they sound that good singing with that thing on their head.
I don't know the answer. That may be true. You're right. You wouldn't know, right? You would not even know. But, and I'll go with this, with Julie's comments here this morning. I couldn't believe what I witnessed last night. I felt like it was very inspirational. 97-year-old, the masked singer last night, they unmasked him. And you know who it was? It was Dick Van Dyke. And the first thing my wife said is, wait a minute, is he still alive?
Yeah.
And, yeah, do you know how old Dick Van Dyke is?
No.
He is 97 years old.
Okay, look, they're putting his body under a lot of undue stress, putting him in costume, making him walk around with that giant head.
It is funny that you say that. First of all, Julie says 97-year-old Dick Van Dyke was the unmasked singer last night. So emotional, seeing him singing on the stage and adding a little dance step as well. He did the supercalifragilistic song and started dancing around. Like, it was... I almost feel like it looked like they dressed up an old guy in a movie, and they dressed an old guy up to look like he's old, and he's dancing around like crazy. That's what Dick Van Dyke was doing on TV last night. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And
he's 97?
Sharp. He was hitting the notes. He was hitting the words. That's not an easy song to sing, right? Unless you memorize it, which obviously he has. But wow, if you saw that last night, that was really inspiring and emotional. Everybody was all, you are the reason I got into comedy. And somebody else was crying. One of the judges, or whatever they call it on that show. I thought that was a little over the top. But anyway, it was, if you grew up watching all those old shows, any of the Disney stuff, any of the old, Dick Van Dyke.
Meanwhile,
Dick
there's
Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
There's the
He's
younger
97
generation
today.
All across America is like, yeah, we need to exploit Grandma and Grandpa. We got to get as much money out of them as we can.
Others are saying Dick Van who?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then on the other side of all of this, you look and say, wow, Raquel Welch has died. She was only 82. You kind of think of today, 82 is still,
right.
It's still pretty young when you look at things that way.
To be honest with you, when I hear that someone's passed before 85, my thought was they had an illness.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
they died
And
of a
she
cancer or sickness, right? Because that's not now. If you're going to die a natural death, it's typically 90 or above, right?
She had a short illness, supposedly. One of the greatest sex symbols of all time, Raquel Welch, has passed away. And she'd had some work. She looked really good.
Nothing wrong with that.
She had a kind of a smile that was permanent. You know how that happens.
Yeah.
But I guess she looked good for having
she
work done.
did. Wow, I don't know how old she is here, but
it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No word yet on the cause of death. They said it was a short illness.
Wow.
She was 82 years old. When the news broke, Carson Productions posted a YouTube video of her with Johnny Carson in 1968 when he asked her about being perceived as a sex symbol. And here's what happened.
Not anymore. In the beginning, I used to get a little bit perturbed because it seemed to, there seemed to be a stereotyped idea of what a sex symbol was, sort of vapid and not too bright and not with much ability. Or it makes you feel that you're limited in some way, and so you kind of fight against it. But I don't think that you can really fight against an image. It's something that you can't control.
Also very interesting that's kind of what Pamela Anderson is saying in her new Netflix documentary. Kind of like the same thing, like she watched it. Raquel Welch over the years did some really cool movies and some TV appearances. She appeared on Seinfeld in the 90s, getting into a cat fight with Elaine. Here's audio.
Would you just keep an eye out for this woman? She's about, yay high, and she doesn't swing her arms when she walks.
What do you mean?
Like this. What the hell is that? Are you making fun of my dancing? Aren't you Raquel Welch? You know who I am. I don't move my arms when I dance. That's my signature. Now what are you doing? Nothing. I just wasn't moving my arms. That's it. You're going down.
Cat fights.
Raquel Welch learned to play along with her sex symbol image. Here's an example of that. On the Cher show. Cher used to have a show back in the 70s. And on this day, February 16th, 1975, back when a couple of ladies could make a primetime comedy bit about being scantily clad in skimpy dresses, now it's reserved for news people on Fox News. And sing a song about being a woman. Here it goes.
I'm not ready. Good girl, Raquel. You tell them. You know, they're always rushing me, and I'm not ready either. Honey, are you about ready?
No, my hair's a mess. I've got a thing to wear. I wouldn't be caught dead looking like this.
Please, ladies, we've got to start.
They're going to bug us till we do it, so let's just come out and do it.
Oh, well, okay. I can wash out 44 pairs of socks and have them hanging out on the line.
I can starch and iron 2 dozen shirts before you can count from 1 to 9.
I can scoop up a great big dipper full of lard from the drippings can.
Throw it in the skillet, go out and do my shopping, be back before it melts in the pan. 'Cause I'm a woman, W-O-M-A-N. I'll say it again.
There you go.
I believe
1975. This date in 1975.
some local feminists have just driven off the road in shock and horror at
I
that
guess.
song. Raquel Welch, by the way, the reason I know her is from the movie Shawshank Redemption.
Right,
You remember? That was the
right.
poster on the wall, I believe, that was concealing the hole that Andy Dufresne had dug out in the cell wall to allow for his escape. And the famous line that the warden says is, nobody knows. He goes in this whole thing. Nobody knows where he is. He didn't just up and disappear. And he looks at the poster and he says, "What say you, fussy britches?" And then he throws a rock or a chess piece at the wall. It goes through the poster and ding, dong, dong. You can hear it echoing down the hall, the tunnel that he's dug out of the wall.
And that was a Raquel Welch poster.
It was a Raquel Welch poster.
Okay.
And that was, I believe, the first thing that Andy requested from what was the character? I can't think of his name. Of course, the actor was Morgan Freeman. I can't remember the character's name.
I wonder if she got paid for that.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I
Because
wonder.
that played a big role. Just a picture of her played a big role in that movie.
And it really
Interesting.
set the time, right?
Yeah.
At the time, she was such an icon. So what other woman would you want on your wall, at that time?
I want to tell you that if you're following hockey, there's a lot of hockey to talk about, from the Comets to the Pioneers, men and women, to high school hockey. And right now, New Hartford has advanced in the Division II championship. This would be, are we to the state level now?
Already?
This is Section 3. I was going
to say that's quick.
Charles Gaetano and Gavin Lapola. I'm reading from Syracuse.com, where we get all of our local news. Scored 2 goals each to lead New Hartford to a 6-2 victory over Oswego in the Division II qualifier game yesterday. The Spartans now advance to the quarterfinal round and will face number 3 seed Christian Brothers Academy, who've merged with Jamesville DeWitt. So must be the 2 schools have combined for their team. Anyway, facing the number 3 seed, that'll be 7 p.m. Friday at the Onondaga Nation Arena. The Spartans' victory was the last of 4 sectional qualifier games to be played. Section 3 released its Division I and II brackets just recently. So now the other quarterfinal game in Division II, number 4 Clinton will host number 5 Whitesboro at 7:30 on Thursday, tonight at Clinton Arena. The pairing for the field of 8 teams in Division I was determined on Tuesday with the qualifier victories, and that goes on. But I just want to focus on Whitesboro, Clinton, and New Hartford. These schools are very dominating in Section 3 hockey.
They are perennial powerhouses, if you will, and good for them. Right?
Yeah.
It's
So keep an eye on that. So between tonight and tomorrow night. What else? Quickly, and I'll go to the phones. Go ahead.
Well, what's the whole DeMar Hamlin?
Okay, the Hamlin thing, I thought this was really kind of a bit over the top.
This
It
is,
started,
to me, unless I'm misunderstanding, this is much ado about nothing.
correct,
here.
and it started with
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Explain, Davey. He came out after the Super Bowl and said he should be fined by the NFL for wearing that disrespectful jacket.
Because he said it was Jesus Christ was on the jacket.
Yes, and I don't. Is that bad?
It didn't look disrespectful to me when I see
No,
pictures.
I mean when you put it in context for a minute. Put this in context. Damar Hamlin just went through a near-death experience. I'm sorry, a death experience. He died and came back to life, basically. His heart stopped.
Adrian Peterson isn't the number one person athlete anyway. He's been involved in domestic violence
Think
and other
about
stuff.
that. Yeah, shut your mouth. That's what I say. Anyway, so he wears this, and I didn't see what was written on there, but it looks like there's a picture of. Is there a picture of Jesus too?
And then it says eternal, and then I think on the front right breast it says, "Without end or beginning, there is no day." I can't read this. Without end or beginning, there is no day or night. You better bleep that, Bill.
Yeah. Think
Without
about it.
without end or beginning, there is no day or night in a picture of Jesus, and that's offensive to people.
I don't understand why that was considered offensive, especially if he chooses to wear that, he can wear it. It's not his uniform, right? It's a jacket. He was not playing in the game. He was a part of a ceremony they did. And let's not forget about what he just went through. I just now here's what I think this Damar Hamlin is just the most wonderful guy, young man on the planet. Everything that I've seen about this kid, forget what happened with Cincinnati. Everything that I've seen about this kid, that fundraiser that he did for the center there in Buffalo for the toys and raising. This is just one of many things that he does in the community that he truly believes in and tries to make a difference with. I don't think this is a guy who's now becoming a God-fearing guy, a God-fearing young man. I don't think he just became that today. You watch him before games. He would always come over before every game and hug his mother and his family. Before every game, he never missed that. He is a wonderful example of a respectful young man, and I think to think that he would be doing this disrespectfully is ridiculous. This is what he says. After talking with my parents, I understand how my coat could have offended some people. He wrote in a note posted on his Twitter account, "It was never my intentions to hurt or disrespect anyone. The coat is abstract art to me."
And then actually Adrian Peterson came out and said, after speaking with Damar, I have an understanding that it didn't come from a place of ill intent. I apologize for offending you. I just felt offended in that moment as a man who loves and respects our Lord and Savior. Give me a break. In the situation you outlined all of a sudden he had this near-death experience. Now he's found God, and that's not the case. But even if it was, so what?
Correct. And Adrian Peterson for shut up. And to be honest with you, I think that he did it because he was trying to step onto the coattails of Damar Hamlin in the newfound fame that he's received based on his injury. So if you criticize Damar Hamlin, it's going to go big that's going to be a tweet that's going to go viral. You tell me he didn't know that when he did it? And now he's talked to Damar and has realized that it wasn't done in an offensive way. What do you think he was wearing it for?
Right.
He was wearing it because he's crediting God with the fact that he's alive today.
He's now become a Satan worshiper ever since his
every comment that's come out of his mouth since this happened, even whether or not he's going to play. The other day he said, you know what? That's in God's hands. I mean, he has become, whether he was, or has become very religious. And, the reality is, how is that offensive to Adrian Peterson? I do not understand it.
Apparently, Adrian Peterson said, "I will beat you like my child if you ever wear that jacket again." I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Think
of course,
about
he was. Remember, it was the whole thing with him where he used a switch, what he called a switch, like a tree stick, a branch to discipline one of his kids. Which, is a little over the top in 2023, maybe?
I believe. Gina Chachi is on the line right now.
Cha-cha, the dance. The dance.
Is on the line right now. I always have a little fun with Gina on that. And the Abraham House, which to me, as long as we're talking about good things, what the Abraham House does in this community is really important, and we appreciate every bit of it. And one of their big fundraisers is about to happen. It's called Fire and Ice, a big gala, and it happens at the beginning of next month, which is just around the corner. Gina, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, talk about the how people can get involved with the gala and where that money goes.
I'm going to correct you because the Fire and Ice is not a gala.
Okay.
It's a casual event.
Okay.
And it's being held up at 12 North Sports Bar.
You apparently didn't hear me correctly when I said the Fire and Ice anti-gala. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah.
My mistake.
Yeah. Right. All right. So this is a dress down. Come on out. Have a good time. It's at 12 North, and let's raise some money for a great cause.
It is. We were looking for something different to do in a way to break up the winter, which it is still winter, even though it's 60 degrees out. So Fire and Ice is our attempt at that. This is our second year, and we're expecting a great turnout. So the fire part is that there's huge fire pits in the back of 12 North. We've got make-your-own s'mores. We're going to have a grill going with burgers and hot dogs. There's also an ice bar outside with a couple of signature drinks. We have our First Source Fire and our Pacemaker Steel Ice. And so those will be our two signature drinks out there.
Love that.
We're going to have a snow dodgeball tournament. So people that come can sign up to be on a team and go out and play dodgeball in the snow. And inside, we have Out of the Red playing. They're a duo. They play rock and country and all sorts of current music. Open bar through the whole event. Giant charcuterie. Homemade chili and chicken soup from Bassone's. Axe throwing.
I knew that was going to be in there.
Yeah.
A huge draw last year.
Yeah,
that was just so much fun. Cornhole, and we also have a couple other games that we're including this year. So it's a casual event, and it's fun, and it's a good way to support the fact that we provide end of life care, and we don't charge for our services.
Yeah.
So we need to be creative in our fundraising.
Yes, what you guys do over there when people reach a point where they have nowhere else to go, they spend their final days in a very in a family-like home atmosphere, and that's so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Gina, I would like to make a prediction. You're going to have perfect weather for this, but unfortunately, you could be anywhere from like 60 degrees to 20 below the way this weather has been this year. I have no idea what it's going to be like on March 4th, but, that's only a couple weeks away. So the trend currently has been pretty mild. So you should be a great night to do Fire and Ice out behind 12 North.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
We're going to take whatever comes, and we're going to make the best of it.
Yeah.
Last year was a little chilly, so we did push the event a little later this year. Tickets are $75 in advance. You can save yourself $10 by buying them in advance. Go to our website, theabrahamhouse.org. It will lead you to the Eventbrite page, or call the office, and we have tickets available. So we're just looking for a good time for a good cause.
All right. Gina, thank you. We appreciate it. Nice job.
I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Gina.
And Gina Cha-Cha.
We should call it the
Abraham House.
Yeah,
Fire and Ice, March 4th.
They do it. It is an amazing service that they offer when people kind of have their backs to the wall, families have their backs to the wall, and caring for a loved one end of life. It really is a beautiful thing because when that person does pass on, they're allowed to be surrounded by loved ones who really care for them. And excellent job that they do. I was going to call, when you said she could have a range of things that would be happening on March 4th, I was going to call it the Fire and Ice Forecast. That's how we should brand our forecast.
This has been, this weather this year has just been, now, and I just was looking at Rob and Herkimer, and he sent me, I didn't read the whole thing yet, but he sent me the whole rundown on what they're doing up at Racket Lake, and he was up there helping them cut the ice and store the ice in the ice house. And these ice blocks are about 250 pounds each.
Wow.
Stacked 10 high in the ice house. There are 1,600 to 1,700 blocks they took out of Racket Lake. And he said, fun but hard work. Sore the next day. And I said, so what do you use it for? Because I know at Miller's Mills, they'll have an ice harvest, and then they do the strawberry shortcake or whatever they do, the festival. I forget what it is. But anyway, they have their festival ice cream festival.
It's an ice cream social type thing.
Ice cream deal in Miller's Mills, the hamlet of Miller's Mills. But Rob says at Racket Lake, it's refrigeration in the general store. And the refrigeration lasts until mid-August.
That's really
cool.
So
you put the ice in now in February, and they have a walk-in freezer through mid-August, or at least a walk-in refrigerator.
Very cool.
Through mid-August. So done the old-fashioned way. Pretty cool.
By the way, that's going to be included in Governor Kathy Hochul's next budget proposal. You can no longer have electric freezers. You're going to have to harvest ice blocks from your local streams and ponds.
Hope for cold weather. Captain Kevin James from Rome PD. Each week we do our Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week. And, Captain, good morning. Thanks for coming on. What do we have this week?
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me. This week we have Alexander Wilson, a 60-year-old male. Wilson is wanted by the Rome Police Department on an arrest warrant for grand larceny 4th. The charge stems from an incident that occurred in December of 2022, where Wilson allegedly stole approximately $1,165 worth of merchandise from the Grand Union located in Rome.
What was he buying, eggs? He must have got eggs.
I think it was a couple of cartons of eggs. That was
it. It's unbelievable the cost of eggs today.
Yeah.
But you know how frustrating is this for you guys, and women, police today, where with these new rules and regulations and laws in New York State, it just ties your hands, and the public is looking to you saying, why aren't you guys taking care of this? When you are, and you're doing the best you can, and it's like a revolving door. They're in, they're out, they're in, they're out.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. Mr. Wilson here this is not his first incident, nor I'm sure will it be his last. And I'm always shocked that when I have conversations with people, out and about, and you talk to them, because they always do the, well, how come you're not doing more?
Right.
When you explain to them exactly, how our hands are tied, they're all shocked.
Yes. Yeah. And
there's still quite a few people out there that don't understand the restrictions that we currently have. So
yeah, this is not this is if we're frustrated as a community. I think we all need to just take a deep breath and imagine what it's like for police officers today, and the frustration, and those within the court system, and the fact that these people committing these crimes, they understand, they know this is what you're going to have to do to me, and I'm going to be out and on my way before you know it. So
they frequently tell us that I know I'm getting an appearance ticket and you got to release me. So
yeah, unbelievable. Okay, we're going to have this full story up on our website. Photo and everything. Crime Stoppers, great organization that both Kevin and I are a part of in one way or another. His obviously through law enforcement. And it's a great organization that allows people to anonymously deliver a tip to police. So if you have some idea where this person is, you can go to the app, you can go online, or you can make the phone call. We'll have it all up on in our story. And you can tip police and possibly even find a reward in the end.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Captain Kevin James, Rome PD, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Have a great day, and we'll have that up on the website soon. I try to have it now, and I don't have it right now, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize. Will you accept my apology?
I do.
Wayne has a quick little shopping story, and I want to say I hear from Wayne often. Wayne pipes in like many. We have seen a really unique increase in, like we've had forever, our messengers, I'll call them.
Yeah.
Right? Like Mike, Rob, Julie is out there. And
I've got some unnamed ones.
That are some don't want their name.
The weatherman.
Richard, good point. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you know what I and now as we've added technology, so we have YouTube. I can look there now, and there will be messages that I haven't gotten to. Some guy in the 540 says it's all about getting attention, and nobody will ever forget your name after. See, that came earlier, and I don't know what it's about. Larry says, has anyone heard the Damar Hamlin will be at the Dome on Saturday?
We talked about that.
That is true, right? That's true. Who's bringing him, Davey? Who's bringing him to the Dome?
Adam Wiseman.
He's the
scrap metal guy.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is you can use our YouTube feed, watch live, message into us. You can go to the app. You can listen live anywhere in the world and message into us. You can text in. You can email in. But you know what's happened, and I had a conversation, Wayne, with my wife about this, is people don't call in anymore. When I say, what do you think about A, B, and C, I get 1,000 messages and no phone calls. It's what's happened to radio.
Yeah.
And
nobody likes to wait on the phone. That's why, because you're waiting on the phone or you're driving.
That's exactly right. And that's my fault, and I apologize. But it is the way it works. I mean, but it used to be the only way you could communicate with us. So,
Stay
Wayne,
with me through the break.
Wayne, if you don't mind holding, forget about your job. We've got a 7-minute news break coming up. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Yeah.
So, Wayne, I just want to say thank you for, and I know you message in often, and we appreciate that. But thank you for taking the time to make a phone call to tell your story, as opposed to us reading your story. I'm just saying thank you.
This is a partial story. We were over at Walmart on our way back from somewhere yesterday. We stopped them real quick, got a few things, and on our way out, we looked, and I thought they were having a meeting by the door, and it wasn't a meeting. They were waiting for someone that was robbing the place to come forward, but instead of having like 1 or 2 security guards, they had like, I don't know, it had to be like 20 employees just gang rush the doors. So that when this guy went to get out, if he was smart, he would have went out an emergency door in the back. But anyways, they were waiting for him to come out, and they were going to, get him on his, his or her way out. But we didn't get to see him.
Who was going to get him?
Well, all of them. I guess what they do is instead of one person just taking it, we used to be like when I worked at Price Chopper, a couple of us had to go and tackle the guy and put our life at risk for the $7.50 an hour or whatever we were getting. And now if they got everybody for the $15 an hour, you step it up. Everybody's responsible for that person robbing the place.
We're it's almost like watching them chase a naked guy on the football field running around during the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to step back and put the phone up, but we had to go. So
Wayne,
was this at Walmart, you said?
Yeah, right at Walmart.
I see. Didn't Walmart have a policy? I thought they changed some policy.
I was just going to talk about this. My son was working in retail, and he said, our policy is if you see someone stealing, you let them go. You do not engage them. Because
exactly what you do now.
Because of the danger of they could have a gun, they could have who knows what, and it turns into a fight. Let them go. Or
and you're not a security guard.
Or my favorite, you're supposed to let the security people take care of it. But my favorite is if you tackle him and hurt him, he'll probably sue us and win. I mean,
right.
And what was it? The fact that I tackled you that hurt you, or is it the fact that when I tackled you, the big TV you were carrying out fell on top of you and hurt you? Right? I mean, what is the world coming to? We have lost our way. It's unbelievable.
Like you get hurt and they get hurt. You know what I mean? You fall down, maybe they land on your elbow, and you land on their face.
Right.
They sue you in store.
Yeah. But there's always one employee that you work with. If you've ever worked in retail, which I have, there's always one employee you work with who's waiting for the moment. Just sitting there waiting. I can't wait because I'm gonna engage. I cannot
We had a guy,
wait.
Bill. We had a guy at Price Chopper, and he used to just rub his hands together like a cricket, and he'd go, "Oh, good." This is, and they'd get over there and they'd go to hold the guy, and this is when it was legal, and he'd throw a couple jabs into the guy's ribs before the cops would come and take him.
Those were the good old days, Wayne. The good old days.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Wayne. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.
All right, some quick comments, and I'm running way behind here.
Yes. Okay. So
what was that? Oh, I've got someone asking on the message. What was that? Oh, that was a phone call. That was one of our listeners calling in and telling us stuff.
Yes, for nostalgic purposes.
I'm joking, obviously, and I appreciate the messages, the communication. It's really easy to pipe in, and you don't have to wait, and I get it. But it is nice from time to time to get a phone call. We get lonely here.
I'll begin with the sports comments. John in Rome says, sports update. The location of Aaron Rodgers he's currently doing his isolation has been made public. He's in the basement of Green Bay Packers fan Andrew. So I think he says he's staying with our Andrew Derminio. Also, Jersey and Marcy says girls volleyball for Whitesboro is also in the finals. They're playing this Saturday in Watertown. Our man Stoney is reminding us that coming up this weekend, the 17th and 18th, the 2023 Girls Ice Hockey Regional Championship is being held at the Nexus Center. Game 1 is Adirondack United against Canton. Game 2 is Kenmore Grand Island versus Clinton. This is hockey, and I believe the Clinton girls are defending state champions.
That's really cool.
Or section champions, at least section champions. I just saw the photo from last year's team, and I apologize if I've got that wrong, but they were at least sectional champions. Christy and Schuyler says, at 18, how much will it cost to keep the scumbag we talked about earlier in prison? Why should taxpayers feed and clothe and provide for this monster? I hope he gets the death sentence, and I hope they put him down quick.
Well, he won't in New York, but he still faces federal charges. I would not be surprised if he doesn't get the death penalty. The problem is, here's the problem. Based on our Constitution, based on our laws, he will sit on death row for years if we use the death penalty. It'll actually cost us more to deal with the constant appeals and the legal system than it would be to let him spend the rest of his life in prison. And, I just feel death is too easy for this kid. He should have to be rotting in jail. Although, do we do that anymore? Right?
Right. You mean he should be able to send emails and FaceTime from his prison
one of
cell.
the comments from one of the victims yesterday was, I hope they keep you off social media. Because, he documented everything on social media. Everything that he did. He documented all of it. And then, I believe, streamed it as he was killing people. We're way behind here. Barry says, I called the station last week about a fabulous story about the Wounded Warriors hockey team coming this next weekend that are sponsored by the New Jersey Devils and will be honored Saturday night by the Comets. Barry, we're working on that, as a matter of fact.
Yes. I got the info right here, and I was going to try to get him on before Jimmy tomorrow.
We're hoping that they'll be on the air tomorrow for us. We're working on it, so keep that in mind. The official coffee,
I've got Barry's number right here.
Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Daylight, Chuck Sedella, and everybody over there ready to take care of you with coffee, the most amazing Seattle's best coffee, espresso. Over 14 different amazing flavors of lattes, including the Almond Joy. Imagine what that tastes like. You don't have to imagine. Just drive through the drive-thru or head on in. Breakfast sandwiches, bagels, and more. It's Daylight Donuts. Chuck Sedella and everybody. That drive-thru is fast. That's very important. You're in, you're out, you're on your way.
I'm sorry, one more. I got to get this. Is the last one I didn't get. The Notre Dame 3rd and 4th grade basketball team is undefeated. I was just sharing that with you. We got a message in. I can't read them all except one.
Very, very nice. All right. Samantha Colosimo Testa coming in, and let's do our free money question of the day, Davey. This morning, we're looking for a quick and easy caller number
3.
Third caller through the lines right now. Chance to win $100 from the Hobeika Law Firm. 315-736-0186. Call now. Chance to win is next on WMBX.
For your financial advice to be useful, it needs to be tailored to how you live your life. I'm Jim McGuire, branch manager of Baird's Utica office. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning for all areas of your life. Retirement, family, and estate plans, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate our advice with your tax and legal advisors. so you can be confident all your plans are working together for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdUtica.com.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's New York attorneys. 518-554-0000. Online at CordellCordell.com. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com. For website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results, visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
Sweet deals all month long at your family-owned and operated dealership, Steet Pawnee Chevy in Herkimer. Fall in love and find new roads when you test drive a 2023 Chevy Equinox all-wheel drive LS 3-year, 30,000-mile lease with $1,000 down for just $349 a month. You'll say, "Be mine," when you test drive our 2023 Chevy Trailblazer LT front-wheel drive 3-year, 30,000-mile lease with $1,000 down for just $319 a month. Steet Pawnee Chevrolet, offering you sweet deals and the buying experience you'll love. Visit them on Route 28 in Herkimer or at SteetPawneeChevy.com. See why it's always easy to do business at Steet Pawnee Chevy.
Customer must qualify for A1 top-tier credit with GM Financial. 25 cents per mile. Mileage penalty over 30,000 miles. All taxes, fees, first payment due on delivery. Equinox stock number 23077. MSRP $30,080. Trailblazer stock number 23130. MSRP $25,595. Must have current lease in household and take delivery by 2/28/2023.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
7:53 on Thursday morning. It's the day before the night of Jimmy Fallon at Fat Cats Comedy Club. 5 shows all weekend long. Davey's all excited, his personal bodyguard here this morning.
Security!
And Jimmy will be in studio on the radio with us tomorrow morning. Jimmy Fallon. Listen to him today. You never know what he'll say about us today. You know, I mean, he's always talking about coming up to see Davey in Utica.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And Jimmy Fallon in studio tomorrow, and then spends the weekend, by the way, noon until 3 tomorrow afternoon. He'll be doing a show from these very microphones.
I was out at a local establishment last weekend, and you'll be amazed of the people that know who I work here on this radio show come up and say, you know, your buddy Jimmy was talking about you.
Yeah.
He was talking about you on his national show. He's really hyping you up. I said, yeah, I know, but
you know,
we're just friends.
We're gonna.
Did they think it was something more?
There are shirts out there. Jimmy Fallon, 2024.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they'll be available, I believe.
And I'm his running mate.
And Davey, that's what I was saying. Maybe it should be Davey 2024. All right, let's do our free money question. No waiting here. Come on, let's go. Eric in Deerfield. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Bill. How you doing?
Good. You ready to go here?
Yeah, I think so.
Eric's pretty good at this contest, so let's see how he does here.
Think, Eric.
This
think.
AM. All right, here we go for $100. Have you ever won, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, good. How many times have you won?
Oh, several.
Several. We're actually feeding his family. I don't know if you know that. But okay, Eric, here we go. Let's make it another win. Before he became a big-time Hollywood celeb, he was a DJ on WDAN radio. Ready, go.
Who was Dick Clark?
Boy, you had the Dick right, but not the Clark right. Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke was, and we talked about this a little while ago. Last night on The Masked Singer, Dick Van Dyke was unbelievable at age 97, dancing around the stage, singing, and it was really inspirational.
He is incredible. He's a great actor, singer.
No doubt about it. So, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you, we'll give you a table for 6 next weekend or whatever weekend works for you at Fat Cats Comedy Club. We're going to give you the Utica all-in-one food and fun card. It's a $25 gift card to Aquavino, Babe, 72 Tavern and Grill, the Tailor and the Cook, and any of the concession stands at Adirondack Bank Center or Nexus. And that's what I have here for you this morning. So,
okay. Thanks, Bill.
all right, Eric, stand by. Davey's going to hook you up.
What's that show called again?
What show?
The one with Dick Van Dyke last night.
The Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer.
Do you know that show is sponsored by Joe Biden's 2024 running mate, Adderall?
Yeah.
That's how they got Dick Van Dyke up there dancing around like that.
That is funny. Well, I mean, he's in better shape than Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Sam Testa on the line right now. We only have a few minutes, and I apologize for that, but you know the deal.
You've only been getting me on for a few minutes. I mean, you're hurting my feelings.
Well, listen, a few minutes here, a few minutes there. You own the program. Okay.
I get it. I'm not running for mayor. Way more important things.
All right. Well, okay. Listen, I was understanding that this money that is coming from basically COVID money, the rescue fund money, this had to be the mayor makes the suggestion, and then it gets passed on to the common council, who then makes the ultimate decision. But apparently not in Utica. Every other city is doing it this way, but not in Utica. In Utica, we don't even know where the money's going, right?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like I shouldn't even have to ask for this stuff. It should already be out there. Like it's mind-boggling. We've got a $64 million budget, or not 64, excuse me, a $64 million ARPA spending.
Yeah.
And we don't know where any of the money's going.
Think about that.
I shouldn't say not all of it. Not all of it. I mean, the last update I think I got was from January of 2022.
And I don't mean to compare, but in Rome, Jackie Izzo is talking about how in some cases they're fixing a fire truck. They're using the money very carefully. But in some cases, they're using it strategically, saying, all right, we're going to give this to your business, but you have to match that.
Right.
So now you've got skin in the game. It's an investment. Everybody's involved as opposed to just cutting a check that doesn't accomplish anything. I mean, what's Utica doing? And I have a feeling your answer is you don't know.
Well, listen, I know money has been allocated, but again, we talk about fixing the firehouses. The firehouses haven't been fixed yet because they said that they couldn't get a contractor. But yet we just approved a $99 million project. I mean, I didn't support it, but they just approved a $99 million project for the People First through Municipal Housing Authority that they're building, a $99 million worth of housing projects.
But no roof.
They're able to find roofs.
No, they're not going to. They're not going to have a roof on the building.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk to your contractors. Can you let us know who they are? Because we can't even fix the firehouses.
Right.
I mean, inside the city, that these guys are, men and women are living in filth and disgust.
Well,
it's just, it's infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, the people in the city got to start waking up and realizing, what is going on?
I think Jeff put it in a different way, but I'll put it in this way. Codes are enforced through the fire department. It's unbelievable that the fire department, firefighters have to go out and deal in codes and go to a business and say, you don't meet codes, when they're actually spending the night tonight in a building that doesn't meet codes.
Listen, my husband works at the Whitesville Street Firehouse. I mean, I don't let him come home with his fire clothes on. I mean, he changes there because it's that. I don't.
You're afraid
that's not normal. You know what I mean? And I guarantee, if any of the politicians or anybody in that building was spending a 24-hour shift inside one of those firehouses, you're damn right those firehouses would be fixed, because it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
They don't even have firehouses that look like that in third world countries, and yet here we have it in the city of Utica.
Mm-hmm.
And again, ARPA spending. I mean, the Olbelson apartment's going to be fixed, which sometimes it's not a bad thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when are we going to start taking care of the things that we have inside the city first before we start cutting checks to private entities? I mean, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can put the firefighters up in the Obliston for a few nights a week. They can stay there.
It would actually be better living conditions. I mean, at least they would have to be up to codes at that point in time. They wouldn't have holes in the roof or asbestos in the ceiling. I mean, it's to the point now where it's beyond repair. Like when I got on the council back in 2012, I mean, we were at an $8 million deficit budget. They were raising taxes 30 or 40 or 50% or something along those lines. Now we have, an ARPA check for $64 million, and we're not using it to the best of our ability, I believe. I mean, think about it. They have money to build a skate park. They found the materials to do that. I mean, the only thing that I'm happy about is a splash pad, because I walk with my daughter down to the park, and she's like, "When is this going to be done?" I'm like, maybe by the time you're 45.
Yeah, and you'll be paying. You'll be paying the taxes on it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Samantha, what are you hearing? Where? I mean, I don't think that Mayor Palmieri is going to be running for anything.
I've heard he said it publicly to people multiple times
that he's running.
I wouldn't rule anything out.
I think he's going to take a job in Albany.
He's got either that or he's got a lot to. Whoever's mayor is going to have 12 years of stuff to uncover. I mean, I gave up asking questions and just waiting until somebody else gets there to hope find an answer to some of the things. Yeah. I mean, even the FOIL request I put in, I was told they were too burdensome to produce. I mean, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what's happened over the past,
all right,
12 years, even the last 4.
I'm sorry we cut you short, but we'll do it again soon. Thank you.
No, listen, as long as you guys are talking about it, I appreciate that, and that's all we can ask for. So hopefully, after this, I'll be able to get a list of ARPA spending.
Listen, I do think that it's important, right? It's important to ask these questions. That's what your role is. It's what every council member's role is, and we shouldn't just accept when any mayor says, "This is what we're doing," and I'll let you know later after it's.
Well, that's why I laugh. Like the Complete Streets has been like a ploy. Like, oh, worry about that, but don't actually worry about what we're actually doing. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So.
Sam, thank you. Appreciate it.
Guys, take care. Have a good day.
You too. A Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle, a tremendous value, says Ricky Z, and it indeed is. They select the best of the best late model Mazda vehicles. So they can offer award-winning Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles with a 160-point inspection and a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain. Let's make your deal on a new Mazda and a pre-owned Mazda, says Ricky Z, at Steep Pawnee Mazda in Yorkville. WYBX, Utica, Rome.
That El Paso, Texas shooting that left 1 dead and 3 injured is right across a large parking lot from the Walmart, where a gunman targeting Mexicans massacred 23 people in 2019. Just last week, Patrick Crucius pleaded guilty to federal hate crimes charges. He still could get the death penalty on state murder charges. In Buffalo, New York, the man who targeted black people in a supermarket shooting in May was sentenced to life in prison.
I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it.
Peyton Gendron says he believed then the racist hate he read online that motivated him. His apology came after the families of 10 people he murdered yelled at Gendron. And then one of them even lunged at him, but was stopped by court officers. Again, Gendron gets life in prison, no chance for parole. The Tennessee National Guard is investigating what caused a Black Hawk helicopter to crash on a training mission in Alabama.
I just hollered, my Lord, my God, because nobody could have survived that.
That's because she says the helicopter exploded when it hit the ground. 2 crew members were killed. The police chief in Oakland, California, has been fired.
The mayor says she's lost confidence in Chief LaRon Armstrong, who's been under fire over how he handled department misconduct allegations.
I have decided to separate from Chief LaRon Armstrong from the city without cause.
Outside investigators concluded that Armstrong suffered a gross dereliction of duty and found him not credible. Armstrong says he's disappointed in the decision, calling himself a loyal and effective reformer of the police department, adding he's committed no misconduct as chief. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are down modestly ahead of the opening bell next hour. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Mostly cloudy skies, 43 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:05. Good morning, I'm Jeff Manaski. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's President's Day Sale. Keep more presidents in your pocket. Shop the My Carl's President's Day sale. Historic deals on all in-stock furniture, all in stock with easy, no credit needed financing. Only at My Carl's Furniture in the New Hartford Shopping Center and now open in Destiny, USA. Police have made an arrest in connection with the abandonment of a dog at the Herkimer County Humane Society earlier this month. Police charging Paul Carlos Palenzuela of Frankfort. He's accused of leaving the dog in the freezing cold on the night of February 3rd. He was arrested on charges of over-driving, torturing, and injuring animals, failure to provide proper sustenance, and abandonment of an animal. Police say someone did recognize the vehicle from that footage released by the Humane Society. The tip led to Palenzuela. He's scheduled to appear in German Flats Court later this month. As for the $4,000 reward that was offered for leading to information on the arrest, officials say no one has come forward to claim it, so it will now be given to the Humane Society to help with animal care. We just spoke to her, but Utica Councilwoman Samantha Colosimo Testa asking, what are they hiding? She wants to know from the administration how they plan to spend the remainder of the American Rescue Plan Act funding. The city received $64 million, but Colosimo Testa says they haven't spent about $30 million of it. She's asking for details as the council currently considers Mayor Robert Palmieri's current budget proposal. That proposal totals $79 million, includes no tax increase. You can read more on that on our website at WIBX950.com. The Genesis Group and First Source Federal Credit Union announcing the second round of the Genesis Group Small Business Assistance Program. It provides grants and incentives for small businesses and non-for-profit organizations with fewer than 50 employees. First Source providing $5,000 to fund that second round. Awards include a grant of $1,000 and 8 grants of $500. Bill, our very own Town Square Media is offering some radio advertising as well. And Hummel's Office Plus also pitching in some online office supplies. You can go to thegenesisgroup.org/grants program if you'd like to apply your small business or not-for-profit organization. And Governor Kathy Hochul's nominee for the next Chief Justice of the State Court of Appeals has been rejected by the state Senate. 39 senators voting no to Hector LaSalle's nomination. Just 20 lawmakers voted for it. LaSalle's nomination was originally turned down by the Senate Judiciary Committee, but a Republican filed suit to try and force a full chamber vote. Governor Hochul says she will now work toward making a new nomination to be the Chief Justice of the State Court of Appeals. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast. Staying warm. We do have a chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise mostly cloudy with a high of 46 today. Tonight, cloudy skies, some rain showers possible, an overnight low of 41. Rain showers and sleet possible early for your Friday morning. Then a chance of snow showers and sleet later in the day. Tomorrow's high temperature falling through the day. Looking at about 25 degrees by 5 p.m. We'll start the morning in the 40s and falling to 25 by the afternoon. Saturday, mostly sunny and a high of 36. Mostly cloudy on Sunday, but we warm it back up to 43 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:08. Cloudy and 43. Here's Keeler with sports.
All right, from the IBEW Local 43 Sports Desk, Davey, a good night for Colgate. And they only have a few games left, but they're knocking it out of the park right now. Both teams last night, as Colgate played Army, scored well, shot well, over 50% from the field and combined for 26 triples. It was a big win last night over Army last night for Colgate University.
They got a better record than Syracuse. They're 20-8 overall.
20-8. They beat Army Wednesday night, 93-86.
Saturday they play.
And they play again on Saturday. Okay. Syracuse also plays Saturday night at the Dome, and that's a big one.
Against Duke.
They're boy, could they be making their way to the bubble? I don't know.
Both teams could not be even in the Big Dance. Duke and Syracuse. Imagine that.
Could be really awesome. The Comets will be home on Saturday night. They'll be on the road on Friday night. I did that in a reverse fashion. But I will tell you, the Pioneers, Utica men's hockey team, their final 2 regular season games of the year will be played on the road. Arcadia, Friday night and Saturday night. And then we talk about the playoffs. And by the way, head coach Gary Heenan says Utica Pioneers playoff tickets are now on sale. And that ECAC, is it, or UCHC? UCHC is where we are now. That conference playoff series will happen in Utica. Couple of things yesterday. We talked about this, Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, he's a little sore. He's got a sore side, so he was pitching yesterday, and they're shelving him for at least a few days. But talk about Groundhog's Day.
I know.
Been
there
there before.
Mets know exactly. And then, is it Frankie Montas?
Yeah. Or Montas.
Montas. From the New York Yankees, right-hander, is going to need shoulder surgery. Going to miss most or all of the upcoming season. And then Michael Jordan. Make-A-Wish has been a campaign he's been involved in for years. They're getting a massive donation from the great Michael Jordan. Just before he turned 60, he donated $10 million to the foundation.
Very beautiful thing. That's very, very generous and very, very nice. That Make-A-Wish Foundation does a lot of amazing things, inspirational things, incredible things for young children who are in bad situations.
And Sarah's Flooring Outlet is the area's leading flooring store for Pergo Extreme by Mohawk. And right now, there is a wonderful sale going on at Sarah's. You know, it's the largest inventory in Central New York. If you're thinking flooring, you must think in Sarah's Flooring. And Sal makes sure they have the latest products, the best selection for you to choose from. We did it. We walked through. We were there for over an hour looking at potential flooring. And we picked hardwoods. And it was a craftsman from Sarah's who came to our home and installed a beautiful hardwood floor that my wife won't let anyone walk on. Don't understand it. Why do we have a floor if you can't walk on it?
Brand new floor, you got to cover it with carpet, right?
Can't walk on it. Anyway, in Sarah's Flooring Outlet, their Pergo Extreme sale is going on right now, and it's a sale that also comes with which is always the case at Sarah's, their 60-mile radius price guarantee on any Pergo Extreme products by Mohawk. It's a 60-mile price guarantee. They'll match or beat any price. Right now, you can get a $50 coupon on their website. Check that out at insarasflooringoutlet.com. And 6 months interest-free financing going on. See why more people buy from the big store. Sal and everybody at Sarah's. Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza, River Road, Marcy, and online. insarasflooringoutlet.com.
The comments keep coming. You'll want to stay tuned for this. I've got a question or a comment as it regards to Samantha Colosimo-Testa. In fact, two of them I'm hearing from a city official right now about the ARPA funds, so I will share that with you on the other side.
We'll do that next, 8:13 at WIBX.
Spring is on the way, and if you're looking to make the most of it in a new RV, camper, boat, or trailer, then look to Mohawk Valley FCU. Right now, you can get up to 120 months financing for as low as 5.74% APR for any new recreation vehicle. That's 120 months of financing for as low as 5.74% APR. Go to MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info and to apply today. Mohawk Valley FCU, member focused, member driven.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is Sadie. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply in the new Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them at 315-724-6767. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies. We make life easier.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel, évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
COVID is still spreading. Don't let your guard down. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But your risk is greater if you're over 65, if you're obese, have heart or lung disease, diabetes, or another underlying health condition. Lower your risk of serious illness, hospitalization, and death with the most up-to-date COVID vaccines, including the booster. Learn more at ny.gov/booster.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
We have some comments to get to. We have Lance and Lee piping in on my ineptness. Is that a word? My ineptitude. Okay, fair
your
enough.
ineptitude over there, Bill.
And I've got a great story here, too. And then County Executive Anthony Pacini is coming right up. Start with Manansky right now.
All right, so you want to go with Lance or what? Or the
Sure.
city official I just heard from? All right, so Lance says, first of all, this is on the interview with Jackie yesterday, and I don't know. Lance asks some fair questions. I think when we have guests in studio, I completely disagree with this. Hey, Bill, is your arm sore from all the softball questions for Jackie Izzo? You may as well have had a 20-minute...
He's going to love the interview with Pacini.
You may as well have had a 20-minute commercial for her. If you need a list of questions that most of Rome has, I can provide one. And I said, Lance, send them. He sends the questions I ask him. I was waiting for questions yesterday.
I asked her everything. First of all, I do her media in full disclosure. But I've worked for her since she first ran for mayor, the first time, to be fair. But we have invited her opponent on, and we continue to invite him to come on. I hope we will talk to him soon. I think one of the big issues in Rome right now is the garbage issue. It's a real problem. And also the issue of crime, where someone had piped in yesterday saying, Mayor, how could you have said there's no crime in Rome? And she answered that and said, well, I really didn't say that. It was taken out of context. This is what we said. But what more do you want me to do? I don't believe you. Is that what I should say? I mean, what am I supposed to do? She's answering the questions. We opened the phone lines. Anyone could call in. And we had one call, and then we get this afterwards from Lance. Lance, what are the questions? I'll call her up right now and ask her.
And then further, and we pay good money for these sound effects, and I don't use them, so.
Okay.
Here's the double from Lance this morning. Ask Samantha if the city gave bonuses to their employees with ARPA. Many government agencies did. If so, wouldn't she have benefited since she's married to a city employee? Now, she is married to a city employee, and I would say if there was a bonus given and the fire department did receive it, I would say we can throw out all the questions about the asbestos, lead, and other contaminants in the firehouse. If they got a bonus, they deserve to be living in those deplorable conditions.
There are two different.
Clearly.
Two different. And this is really Manaski's anger about this, even more so than Samantha's. You're very bothered that they're living in squalor, basically, and they're the codes officers, by the way. We'll talk to the county executive about bonuses with ARPA money, and it did happen. And I had a problem with it when I first heard, but when you dig in, you realize that many people received bonuses after working, not us, when they were essential workers, and because they stuck around, they worked every day despite COVID. So, but we'll talk to the county executive about that. Any further?
And then we heard from current city controller Bill Morehouse. This is what he said. So Samantha's contention is about $30 million of the $64 million hasn't been laid out.
Where it is.
So Mr. Morehouse said, our financial position is rock solid. The ARPA money has either been spent or is already committed to projects. The next mayor will have the current controller, him, for 2 years to give them a hand in guiding them through the finances of the city. That was from Bill Morehouse. I said, but Bill, shouldn't the city be providing a complete list of how that funding is being used in what projects? Samantha's contention and other counselors is we'd like to know how they're using that funding, because doesn't it play a role in how we're budgeting for the city finances for the next year? So that's her contention.
Fair enough. All right. And then I had, I guess this isn't working for some reason.
Don't tell me another thing's broken in here.
Yeah, everything is. Okay,
there we go.
I needed some nice music. County Executive, good morning.
Good morning.
We have a lot to get into. This is, of course, being a theme.
A lot of anger on Jeff's side here.
There is.
Across from me on the road.
This a theme from a love story. You familiar with it?
Of course.
Henry Mancini. I want to bring you back as just a few days ago, we celebrated the love holiday. Valentine's Day. And I want to tell you about a couple in Pennsylvania and how important forgiveness is in a relationship.
Okay.
And this is a good time to get into it. Perfect timing for that. They have recently been online discussing the importance of forgiveness and how in order to be happily married, one must be able to forgive one another. Here's Tony and Francis Toto talking about the fact that they did have marital troubles. And yes, 40 years ago, his wife did pay a teenager to kill him. She was arrested for that, but now they've forgiven each other, and they remain, after 40 years, completely. Can you believe this? Could you forgive somebody who hired a hitman to kill you?
No.
No.
Could not.
Not even
Unless there was a good reason. Unless I could look at the situation and go, had you done that to me, I probably would have done the same thing.
I was kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here they are talking about it, though. Here's audio.
Twice, one in the back of my head and another bullet went right through the chest.
And the one in his head is still there. I don't think I was thinking straight. It was like a love-hate kind of a thing.
And then we both cry and we say to each other, from now on, let's talk. Let's communicate better. Something that we should have done before.
Yeah, before she tried to kill me 5 times.
Don't you?
They didn't sound bright, did they?
Don't you have to? Well, but don't you have to if you're him? When somebody comes to the door, don't you kind of not?
You're a little
answer?
nervous, right?
Yeah.
No, honey, you get the door.
Start the car in the morning, that kind of stuff.
She hired a teenage kid to murder him.
There you go.
4 more times she hired someone to murder him, including trying to blow up his car, shooting him, and she attacked him with a baseball bat.
Why isn't she in jail?
I don't know.
Bail laws or whatever.
It might have been
New York
right
bail.
Early on. That's probably from New Jersey or Pennsylvania, where they didn't.
Pennsylvania, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a story of love.
Did she not sound like Marge Simpson?
She did. The two of them sounded. Yeah.
To me, she sounded just like Marge Simpson. The other thing is, not only I thought you were going to say it was some plot to kill my husband, and then the cops were in on it, right? 5 separate times she hired him, and he's been shot in the head and chest, and he forgave her. He's not a husband. He's a sucker. This guy's a moron.
I think it might have been that last baseball bat to the head. It might have actually mess things up just a little bit. So, the county executive is in. How do you follow that?
I can't.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Okay, Lance, prepare yourself. This is our interview with the county executive. What is it with Lance? Did you like?
Is it a real person?
It is.
Is it real?
Well, is that his real name? We don't know.
His real name?
No. These are all questions I come up with, and I just credit him.
He doesn't like you.
Well, and that's that's been,
Actually,
been pretty evident. I don't know how
he doesn't
likes.
like any
He
of
doesn't
these,
like anybody.
any of the established. Right? Would you say?
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway,
And
okay.
he goes after both sides, to be fair. I mean,
He does.
not a fan of Celeste, who's on the left, or Tony Pisani, who's on the right, or maybe in the middle. But he goes. He does have tough questions for everybody, which we ask those questions.
Love to answer them. Just keep them coming.
What do you think of the latest possible, what the FDA is talking about doing? And is it naloxone? Is that the Narcan, which we know saves lives?
Mm-hmm.
It is, for some people, controversial because they feel like we're just, I don't know how it can be controversial, almost like we're aiding people and we're leading them to drug abuse, which we're not. In this case, it brings people back to life. But the decision that they may be making by the end of March to allow over-the-counter purchases of Narcan.
Well, we have been distributing Narcan in
for free,
various
right?
forms,
Right.
So it really is not anything different than.
I think it's going to happen, and it should
it's
happen.
not really anything different if you look at the concept of what's been done,
Right.
through us with the opiate task force, but over the last couple of years, the Narcan cabinets, the Narcan kits that we give to the distribute to businesses and other places, and those that we give to to families.
Right.
So it's really not it's kind of the same thing. So it's
You're
hard to argue against it,
Yeah.
especially when it does save lives in that regard. Now, I mean, so do you the question when it first came up or when it became that available into the mainstream, and it was at first being just administered by EMTs, hospitals, law enforcement in that regard, and then opened up into the general public for use. There was controversy then and that just what you said. Are we enabling drug abuse? I don't think we're so much enabling it as acknowledging it and understanding that it happens in different forms and fashion. And what's the alternative?
Right,
Let people
Well,
overdose.
the alternative is
Let people overdose in a store, on a street
Right.
corner, in your house with
Well,
until somebody gets there.
Right.
In that time.
And the other part of this is the increasing number of cases where people who come in contact with fentanyl, they're mistakenly coming, whether it's law enforcement, medical workers coming in contact and immediately overdosing. It shows you the strength of this
But
drug.
I don't, having really delved into this and working in the last several years with the opiate task force and the overdose response team and all the things that myself, the sheriff, the DA have been working on. This is not about. People don't go and take drugs because they know Narcan is out there.
Yes.
I think
Right.
that's what has to be understood by the
And if there
by the
are- if
general
there is
public or
someone-
those.
if there is someone, it's a very small
Well,
number.
but even that, you don't. I don't think whether you're addicted, to that extent and have been using, whether it's heroin, whether it's cocaine, whether it's, it's laced in marijuana these days.
Right.
Fentanyl is all over the place, as you just said.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. People are addicted, but they're not going. Well, I'm going to do this, and if I should, zone out, then Jeff will give me Narcan. I don't think people. I don't think that it's that clear in addicts' minds
Right.
or their makeup. They're addicted. It's not about. I'm going to
Believe
get
me,
pulled out of this.
when you talk to people who are
Sure.
addicts, and
Yeah.
I know that's the wrong
Yeah,
word, I'm not supposed to use it.
yeah.
Well, it's an addiction.
But what they'll tell you is, I just wish I could quit. I'm trying to quit, and nobody wants to be lying out on the street.
Alcoholism is the other.
Mhm,
There's different addictions. Alcoholism is as deadly, depending on the extent. But there's no Narcan for that.
Right,
In terms of blackouts and the other thing which can cause the same death, accidents, all of the above in different ways.
I just want to follow up on the point you made, and I have talked about this before. I'm aware of a couple of convenience stores in Utica where people have either used drugs or overdosed from drugs, and in one case in particular, passed away in that restroom. I just would say, think about, I have a young child. If you have a child or grandchild or family member, it's a niece, a nephew, whatever, 10 years old, 15, 25, never done drugs, straight A student, great kid. You're on the road, you're on a trip, you're going somewhere, vacation, right? Mm-hmm. February break's coming up, you're heading down south.
Right.
You go down there, we got to pull off and use a bathroom. Some person with a problem was in there before you using the drug. Now it's on the bathroom counter or it's on the toilet.
And all it takes is a
skin contact.
Little,
Now your child, your loved one, your spouse is overdosing. They've never done drugs before.
Yeah.
You don't want a way to unlock that instantly so they don't die.
Yeah, I remember years ago, in my past work and many years ago in the DWI program. I mean, in terms of we watch everything we think on TV is real, right?
Right,
sure.
And there was always and it still is in movies that you go back in time and see. I don't know if they still do it today, but the cops or whoever, the investigators or the FBI or whatever, come across a load of cocaine and whatever, and put their
they taste
finger
it.
in it and they taste it on their tongue.
Beretta
I remember way back,
Yeah.
In one of my classes when I was doing the program of at one of the conferences, it was like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't, you could die. I mean,
Right.
and fentanyl is the perfect example of that. I mean, look at the incidents we've had at the jail with our correction officers, or in which they open mail in which it's on the envelope. It's somewhere on there,
right.
and it's touched, and that immediately reacts. So those
when you say reacts, it sends them into an overdose.
Oh, it does. And they had to be. And there's an Narcan case.
Yeah.
Not addicted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not addicts.
A first
Not
responder, a
addicts.
member of law
First
enforcement who
responder.
doesn't do
but
drugs.
But your other point is simply anybody else coming across it, a child, or a teen coming across something on a counter, not knowing what it is. Narcan is.
I've always wondered about if you come into accidental contact. What they'll say is once you've had fentanyl, the experience do they want it again? Where the addiction comes, I don't know. But my question would be, if someone comes in accidental contact, do they now have to be weaned, or is there a craving to go back to that?
I have not heard that. I have not, and it's a good question for our next group. I've not heard that because like I said, we've had deputies and COs that have experienced it, and I know in other places as well. But I have not heard that there's after effects in that regard. I mean, I think it's pretty scary for them to go down, and go out that quickly. So,
go ahead.
I was going to ask about a couple of different things. One is state legislation that would impact snowmobile trails all across the North Country and Oneida County. The other is and
snowmobile trails is just the beginning of what it could do.
Yeah. So what is you sent out a release? You're asking the governor to. She did veto the plan last year, but they're talking about it again. Talk about what this is and how it would harm Oneida County tourism and our local farmers.
Well, it's about going into the streams and really about areas of which are used for recreation to hamper that by this overreach again. I mean, we're getting into areas of which the areas of which we have where we've seen flooding, where we've seen other issues, but also where we have recreation that they want to put this legislation into block and to change the overall landscape of how it blends in, and it's another issue of which I think that the state is overreaching and not looking at the big picture when it comes to how these streams, how this land, how these other pieces impact. First of all, agriculture. I mean, you're really impacting agriculture to a great extent, in which flooding occurs or other issues occur in which you can't manage that, and that's why she vetoed it the last time. Hopefully she'll do it again.
What would the legislation do? That's the part I'm a little lost on. So the legislation would protect
It
all of these river.
reclassifies Class C. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Tony.
no,
You can.
go
I
ahead.
understand. I understand that, but what does that mean? What is that? Does it mean it's now protected? You can't. You couldn't have a bridge go over it. You can't.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can't. I mean, it takes away the ability for different aspects of land use.
Okay.
When it comes to that, and so it hampers. Like I said, in these cases where these streams are and where you look at mitigation efforts to keep them from flooding and keep them from damaging, that they don't allow various measures to take place, and they would impact how whether there's a bridge, whether there's
Okay.
other aspects of it.
And I'm assuming it would restrict any development.
It would.
Yeah.
Well, but again, we're going back to what it does to the whole agricultural piece,
Right.
in terms of that, and what it does to the recreation aspect
Okay.
of it. And it's similar to what has been done in the years past, in which they tried to restrict trails and other things. But this one is really on one side trying to protect the environment but harming it at the same time by restricting the
Right.
various uses and various adjustments that and bypassing different bridges and
Do you think
streams
she'll
and
veto
such.
it this time?
I would assume she would, based on that she did it the last time. I mean, the point here is that it's kind of curious because everybody keeps. I mean, they keep throwing this stuff back up, and some of it, and whether the question is, do they override the veto?
Right.
Because the progressives, look what they did yesterday in terms of the judgeship. I mean,
Right.
without.
What is the story about this judge? Why is that judge controversial?
Well, I think the biggest controversy on the judge, as I understand it, is that, look, judges run for office. Everybody knows
Right,
that.
right.
And except those that are appointed directly.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, they've run for office. They've probably been run. This particular judge, was seen as too conservative for the progressives in Albany, and also received the conservative endorsement when he ran for judge. And so that is that becomes the red flag on the progressive side, that if anybody gets the conservative, then we're not.
Right,
and
right.
that was actually said by one of the senators, I believe, that we're not literally, he said, we're not going to make any more judges who have received the conservative nomination. Which
that is a real problem, considering the way that nomination in local politics is used. For instance, Sheriff Mashel was the conservative nominee, and also the Democrat in the race for sheriff. A lot of times, what you have in local communities, it's not as much about the principles of the individual party as it is local. It's local politics. It's local relationships, right?
Yeah, it is. And I run.
Not that someone with conservative values should not be considered.
It's with everything that I mean, in terms of the parties, tell me every Republican that believes everything that across the board. I mean, are there some? Sure. I mean, I'm sure Lance will chime in on that one. There's some on the conservative side, but is there a blend in which that could be? And then it becomes down to, okay, I think the real thing to look at in terms of parties' endorsements is still, in terms of the principles. And look, you don't want anybody who's from a party perspective who's way out beyond what you're thinking. But then it becomes who's electable, and does that person fit closest to the measure of what our party and what our values stand for, and then that's how it should be tested, not about just because. In that case, it's a Democrat and shouldn't be considered conservative. There have been. I had an opponent who was Democrat conservative many years ago. I didn't get it. I lost the endorsement to someone years ago. So it happens.
Talking with the county executive, Anthony Paceni, and I have someone here that's basically saying, and I'll paraphrase, you're getting all this money from the United Nations deal, and now there's all this COVID money that has come in. It should be easy for you to trim 3, 4, 5, all this money off the budget, and it should be given back to the taxpayers.
Let's talk about two things there. I mean, because we started to talk about ARPA. I know you were talking about the city and the ARPA money and where it is. The ARPA money, though, is, and this is where it gets a little complicated, but the ARPA money is not supposed to supplement your budget. Clear and defined.
Right.
You cannot, which if you look at the county budget, you won't find the ARPA money in there because it's not supposed to be in there. So to anybody's point about whether, and then cities, towns, villages, or whatever, because ARPA has been specific about first part of the question, I'll get to the other part, that you can't use it to lower taxes. That's not what it was intended to do. It was intended and is still intended to address projects or, programs that had some type of impact through COVID. Now, a lot of people have strayed from that, and the federal government seems to be allowing it, which I have a problem with. But, I think when you look at our programs, we've invested or have directed that, those dollars to specific areas of need that did come up, some that did come up or were exposed during the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
So you can't use it to lower taxes. You can't use it to give a rebate to people because that's the same thing on the ARPA money. So that, just to clarify that, if there's any questions.
How is it supposed to be distributed? Is it in a city, for instance? Are there rules? Does the Common Council in a city play any role? Because it seems like they played no role.
Well, I mean, it's interesting.
In this.
I sent, and we had this debate on the floor with the legislatures, my legislature, a little bit because, we are, as the executive, we're responsible for that funds. I mean, and it's pretty intense in terms of the passage of that. We have to, those of us who are charged with it have to log in. Have to give all of our personal information for this money, literally, which I've never done before in any kind of funding that I've been a part of. I mean, literally, my Social Security number, my private information, because I am ultimately responsible. As is, whether it's the mayors or whether it's supervisors or whatever. Having said that, I mean, you're talking millions of dollars. Now, I did send my my ARPA money to the Board of Legislators for approval. So I've followed what a normal course of business in our regard.
It does not seem that Utica's doing that.
It doesn't. I didn't really see that. But again, that's not my job. But at the same time, I guess the question is, I would have thought that any government, legislative body would have some, at least some review or approval. Within that. So I don't know. But that's it. But back to the other part of the question.
So you're getting all this Oneida Indian Nation money, the slots. You're getting all this money. You could balance your budget and give money back.
My budget is balanced.
and give money back to the people.
Well, I've done a zero for 10 years in a row, and if you look at our budget, from year to year, and in particular this past year. Or from 2022 to the 2023 budget, it was about a $30 million, almost $35 million increase because costs go up. So when you look at the money, whether it's the money from the Oneida Nation, I mean, but for that money, I mean, to take that money away, and you would have a tax increase without question because we have two sources of revenue. We have sales tax and we have property tax. I've kept the property tax flat for 10 years. That's not an easy task. Because I'm setting a budget in which you're saying you're not going to raise any more money from property taxes.
Right.
So it's been stuck at $67 million for the last 10 years. I mean, that in itself, just compounded growth on a budget would result in that having a 2 to 3% increase every year just by the consumer price index and the cost of living.
Yeah.
I mean, and we haven't done that. And we haven't done that because we have the added revenue from the Oneida Nation, which can help balance that off and offset the increase in costs. Salaries go up, health insurance goes up, state mandates and program costs go up. So we're not dealing with a flat budget every year. It's not it's not stuck at at whether it's $300 million now, we're just shy of in Oneida County of a $500 million budget. I mean, which is pretty immense. I mean, think about what we're dealing with here. I mean, we're at $494 million in terms of that budget. So, yeah, we could talk about, obviously, look, I mean, I think the zero is a great thing in that regard. I know that people get confused because
some
go up.
some properties are going up.
But you're
looking at overall.
We're dealing with 29 municipalities when we do that, and so there's all different tax rates and equalization in that. And but look at the fact is, and that's another piece in the governor's budget. What she's proposing, because we have a lot of uncollected taxes on a yearly basis, in which people don't pay, and we go to foreclosure. What the governor's budget now is proposing is when we go to foreclosure on those properties and we auction them off, because we're auctioning them to satisfy the back taxes on it and give it to a new owner, that any proceeds from that goes back to the owner that didn't pay the taxes. Does that make sense?
Are you kidding me?
Does that make sense? That's in the state budget. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
So we go, you don't pay your taxes for 4 years. We foreclose, you don't pay on your house for 4 years. We foreclose on that because we have the right to do that unless you come in and want to pay. We end up foreclosing. We go to auction with hundreds of properties. We do two, sometimes three, usually 2 auctions a year with hundreds of properties, along with cities and such. But we do a big number. So we go to auction on your property. Let's say your property is, and we want a responsible buyer and someone who's going to take care of it. They buy the property. Let's say, I'm just using numbers. Let's say $25,000 are owed in back taxes, and we sell the property for $30,000 because people bid on it because they have the ability to bid. And sometimes we don't get the taxes back. Because of what the condition the property's in and who comes in to bid. But let's say in that instance somebody bids on the property above what's owed in taxes. The state is now saying in the governor's budget that, okay, so you got your taxes back on the $25,000. You made an extra $5,000. Give it back to Jeff because he didn't pay his taxes.
Well, don't go dragging my name through the mud. I pay my taxes.
Does that include? Are you able to any legal fees? Any of that stuff is taken off the top.
Not taking anything of that into account. They're just looking at if you
sell it for
if the back taxes have been satisfied. Any overage goes back to the original property.
$50,000 sale, $25,000 is owed to taxes. $25,000 goes to the owner.
That's what's proposed.
Former owner.
The former owner, who didn't pay taxes for 4 years.
Right.
Think about how that could impact. Like when they talk about ghost properties or whatever, you have a rundown building that you can't sell, but you don't want to throw a ton of money in. You just say, let it go. Now you guys become my real estate agent.
But here's the opposite, and here's why that doesn't balance out. Because we, in our budget, we have to account for unpaid taxes. Because I set the levy at $67 million, doesn't mean I collect $67 million in taxes because there's some people that don't pay their taxes.
Right.
So usually in the normal year, there's $4 to $5 million that has to be adjusted for
that much
unpaid
and the
taxes.
sales offset that.
Plus the county, in law, has to guarantee the taxes in the town and the school districts. So if you don't pay your town, you live in the town.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pay your taxes to the town of New Hartford or the school district of New Hartford,
right,
we make them whole.
Right.
So we pay the town and the school for the taxes that you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's under law.
So now
we're left with that burden. So now we've lost that money, and then if they go back and get it, then we have to track it down. But to your other point about the 25 and the 50, what about if there's a 25, 25 owed and we only get $5,000 for that property?
Right.
Where's the 20? Where's the 20? Where's the balance on the 20?
Does the bank get paid off when do they allot for that?
Well, the foreclosure, it depends on because banks can foreclose on their own.
So,
these are properties that are clear and free only on where we can't foreclose on them. The bank, if the bank owns it, they foreclose.
So let me ask you: does this apply to banks?
No,
or just municipalities? Okay.
Just municipalities.
All right.
And then just quickly,
because the bank is going to look at it the way you're looking at it. Once we foreclosed, we now own the property.
Right.
That's the difference here.
Right.
We own, so whatever we sell it for is, that's our choice.
But the logic, I'm not sure what it is, because you couldn't pay your taxes, so we reward you and paying you back
Right.
money on the overage. I mean, these are the things that are in this budget. There are so many things in this budget that are so bad for local governments, but also just in terms of the symbol of whether it's progressive or whatever it is just really bizarre.
Well, you have a large majority, a good-sized majority, and this latest judicial appointment is a great example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
What are you doing with internet? You put out an RFP for better coverage?
Better coverage.
Service?
Well, that was one of the things that again, ARPA funding. That was one of the things identified. We talked in here about over the last couple of years, especially when schools were closed and parents, and even the president in the State of the Union, 2 weeks ago used our line. I mean, and a line that I used in I think my State of the County a couple of years ago, in which I don't know if he plagiarized it. I'm not saying that, but knowing that Joe has done that before,
Yeah.
but
It's in his wheelhouse.
But
Yeah.
we know that we had parents that had to go to a McDonald's parking lot to get internet access because this is a rural county for I mean it just is what it is. So we put the RFP out there for internet, for broadband expansion in those areas, and that's what the RFP is about, to look at how we connect with a private entity to start expanding the lines and internet to areas. We've mapped this out. We did a study with Herkimer County. They put their RFP out a while ago. We just got ours out the door, so that we identified the blank spots throughout both counties that we're both rural in so many ways, and even in the city you'll you can find some spots,
some dead spots.
So, Rome and Utica. So it's not just the rural areas.
I think if you talk to a teacher, one of the social takeaways from internet and learning from home is that grandparents often don't wear a lot of clothes. Kids are on kids are on the computer, and all of a sudden grandma walks by in the background. These things
with her nightgown.
And sometimes it's grandpa. Barely wearing those boxer shorts. And not only were these things seen by the teachers, but every student online. Imagine the distraction. I'm not sure you can legislate that.
I don't think you can.
No, probably not. Does Lance have a question? I mean,
no,
nothing.
I want to be fair.
Wow,
here.
nothing.
I don't see anything. Doug says cops overdosing within minutes of touching fentanyl is a myth, FYI. It's overblown in media to scare people. It takes a lot of fentanyl in the air and many, many minutes of skin contact to take effect. Ingesting it orally is a different story. I replied to him. I thanked him for his comment, but I know somebody personally who works in law enforcement who overdosed from 10 seconds of contact.
Ask the sheriff. I mean, just opening a piece of mail.
Are we defending fentanyl now? Because that's what it sounds like.
Fentanyl's getting a bad rap.
Yeah.
No, but I disagree. Totally disagree based on what the data.
And we're going to do a show coming up.
Experience we are.
We're going to do a show coming up talking about really focusing in on all of this, and that'll be a good question to ask of the experts. But everything that I've learned, everything that I've seen, and you'll see stories on the news of a police officer coming in contact or a paramedic coming in contact and lying on the ground and having to be
the amount, and just going through, numerous hours of this, the speed at which the powdery substance or whatever it is, of that gets into your skin and reacts that quickly, and that goes without you touching your eye or your mouth or your nose or ingest or inhaling it.
And that that's possible. All of that stuff is possible.
That, but even just that's why I say the touch of, forget putting it on your tongue, the touch on your finger. Gets into that bloodstream that quickly.
County executive,
he does have one here.
Okay,
okay. Were the COVID bonuses over 1 million for the employees? I assume he means county employees. And why is our sales tax the highest in the state?
We did not do bonuses. I did not see that was, and to the chagrin, I know of some employees and people that I did.
A lot of municipalities did.
Some did. We we kept our people working. They worked under tough situations, but we kept them safe. I think we had the lowest rate of COVID during the height of that and in that time. But we allowed them to work from home when they needed to. We also reopened contracts and gave them increased salaries. But that was not out of ARPA money. I really still go back to my belief and my position on the ARPA money to be used specifically for areas of concern and of shortcomings that were exposed in COVID, or projects that got sidetracked because of it, and that's what I thought it was, and that's what I still believe it should be used for. And then I don't believe it should be used for a lot of different things.
His other question: why is the sales tax so high?
Why is the sales tax high? We've been through this for the sales tax has been what it has been for 20 years. It's the basis of collecting from everybody rather than from a select few. And people that pay the sales tax are people that don't live here, but everybody, not just the property owners. It's not just putting the burden of government on people that own property, which we've tried to restrict. The sales tax, while it's higher, it keeps our property taxes low, but everybody pays. Everybody pays. Everybody that comes and visits, everybody that comes in, think about what Nexus is going to generate. Think about what the Aud has generated on its
Jimmy
own.
Fallon, when he's here tomorrow, is going to be paying our sales taxes.
All of that is what it is. So, we can have that argument over and over again, but at the end of the day, we have built a model in terms of which everybody pays and it's equitable and not just one select.
Lance has said he has 2 properties in Utica, specifically rental properties, and I assume he lives in Oneida County. He says he's from Lee. But, dude, if you want to pay more in property taxes, share my burden. Share my burden. Pay some of my property. If you want to pay more there, pay some of mine.
Here's Tom in Utica with a question. Hi, Tom. You're on with County Executive Anthony Pisani.
Hi, Mr. County Executive. Thank you so much for attending our press conference for the 200th anniversary kickoff for the Knights Templar Bicentennial the other day at Masonic Hall.
You're very welcome, Tom. It was an honor to be there.
We've got a lot of great things coming, and your presence really made it click with our relatives over there at the Canal Corporation. We've both got a common parent. DeWitt Clinton was the father of Utica Commandery, and DeWitt Clinton was the father of the Erie Canal. So it was a great event, and wait till you see what we've got coming up now.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. County Executive, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the week. Can I do?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to tell you, made a capital investment in our home in the form of a new furnace. Happen when it doesn't happen when it's like 60 degrees out. Your furnace goes when it's 20 below zero, which is where we were. It happened last Friday night. Ended up getting a brand new furnace from Collis. They were there to assist us, even offering us space heaters to assist if we needed it. We were able to get the furnace back up and running. Their techs were able to do that. And then on the following Monday, Friday to Monday, we had a brand new furnace installed. Right now, Collis is hiring for an insulation installer to join their team, seeking individuals with some from the construction experience. You can either stop into Collis at their showroom on Commercial Drive in Yorkville to apply, or apply online, fredfcollis.com/careers. And one more, River Hills Properties, fastest growing real estate company in the area. And why is this? They are with you every step of the way from start to finish. And, I was speaking with one of the agents yesterday, and not Andrew, one of the agents, who said, the fact is, no one gets in your home without one of us being there to keep an eye on things, to make sure the house is putting its best foot forward. We're there every single time the house is shown, and there are no other real estate agents that can say that's what they do for you. That's the River Hills way. Why wouldn't you list with River Hills in Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica? Online, riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell.